when you're out doing research on Sasquatch and you're going to a place that you've been led to and guided to, and you bring a bunch of Todd and expeditioners, and you walk in the woods, and then you hear an unmistakable
Crack.
sign, like, of presence.
Yeah.
It's like a communication, not like an elk stepping on a tree branch. It's not that kind of break, right? Okay, then, what was this week all about?
We had an amazing time. And we're calling this episode Listening to Sasquatch.
I love it. I love it.
As is usual at this time of year, we have our Sasquatch expeditioners arrive. So I did write a little thing, and then we're going to go into some of the details of what happened, and then we're going to go straight into some interviews we did with the people who participated from the local area in this expedition.
Okay.
More. Okay, this April, and as most years around this time, our friend Todd Standing comes to the rest with his expeditioners.
Also known as our brand new friends.
Yes. Todd lives and breathes Sasquatch research. We only have their hand. We just see them as our friendly neighbors who go out, who we go out and seek once a year when Todd is here.
It is kind of silly. Yeah, it's like, I think, 365. Todd breathes Sasquatch, podcast Sasquatch, talks about Sasquatch, research Sasquatch, plans expeditions to see Sasquatches. I mean, everything's Sasquatch.
Yes.
And we do that when he's here.
Yes.
And then every now and then our neighbors knock on the door for a cup of sugar.
Yes.
And then we go, oh, that's right, there's Sasquatch here.
And we go out, we find signs and all sorts of amazing things.
Right, but when Todd's here, it's like on
like Donkey Kong.
Everybody's in the boat. We take a week off of work.
Yes.
Whatever work we're doing, and we just focus on Sasquatch and expedition and meeting new friends and meeting the Sasquatch and seeing what they're up to this week.
Todd is loved by all of us and needs no introduction to our readers and audience.
That's true. But in case you're not sure.
Yes.
Todd Standing, you can look it up. Yeah. Sylvanic is his YouTube.
Yeah. And also he has a really well-known documentary.
Right, where he has images of Sasquatch, literal, here's the picture.
What's the name of the documentary?
Discovering Sasquatch. Anyway.
Okay. This year we also had a visit from our friend Toby Johnson. Toby's a producer known for Voices in the Wilderness, A Flash of Beauty, Paranormal Bigfoot, and Spiritual Bigfoot. He's also a researcher of the link between Bigfoot and the supernatural. And,
in the rest of the show, my sweatshirt will show Flash of Beauty.
Yes.
His, Olympic Strange Days is event in the woods.
Yeah.
Which
he invited us actually
last year. And this year invited us to present.
Be speakers, yeah. Yeah, it's really nice. Toby interviewed various members of our community here at the Olympic Peninsula, including yours truly. He's also the first person to come out and ask me very interesting questions about Sasquatch and about other woo subjects, including aliens and conspiracy theories. I look forward to seeing what he does with the footage.
Yes, because that's a world exclusive.
Yes. And yeah, he actually had some amazing experiences here too.
Yes, he did. Yeah. He caught an hour and a half.
Yeah, of really nice
voices in the woods that weren't people at 3 a.m. Voices.
He's going to have it researched though, because that's his professionalism, you know? Right. He's going to go and have it analyzed by...
Check the AI and see if the AI says, oh, I know what that is.
Yeah.
Or the people.
The people who he goes to with this material, you know? What
I heard sounded a lot like our rooster getting copied by...
We did hear the rooster in the
Voices in the Woods.
Also.
Yes, we heard
and then
a rooster that we know.
A voice recopied him.
Of course, we find out.
And then,
and it does. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, we did find out that the Sasquatch do mimic quite readily.
They do.
In
excellent.
One of the interviews that comes following with the one with Kara.
Yeah.
So it's no surprise to me that the Sasquatch would be mimicking the
Yeah.
roosters.
On this episode, we're going to release the second hour, the Wisdom Keeper hour, for free, attached to this one.
Yes.
And including two of the panelists get interviewed. So that'll be really interesting too. And Kara does talk about that, how they thought it was me hooting, and, well, you can listen to it later because it's quite exciting. All right.
Hold on, honey. There's a forestry truck coming.
Okay, we'll wait.
They have planned this forest to create houses. So to do that, they're going to need to use the truck. And it's a big one.
Here it comes.
Let's see if it shows up.
Okay.
I think our microphone works great.
Wow.
Didn't show anything.
File sounded like a massive
A locomotive filled with the top with trees just roared by, and I didn't see anything. All right, cool.
Okay,
Anyway.
let's see if Inelia can summarize that bit down. Okay, so from the perspective of these two amazing researchers, this month has been very interesting one indeed, and we wanted to share some of the experiences of our own community members had during this high caliber men's visit to our corner of the world. The experiences are best listened to in our podcast, which you're listening to right now. And as like I said earlier, we also interviewed our friend and Makah Elder Brian and two of our Wisdom Keeper Hour panelists, Dr. Kara and Ashley.
Yep.
Larry himself had some breakthrough connections and face-to-face experiences with the Sasquatch this year. You might think that Larry, being a Makah Elder himself, would be an all-hand at connecting with and communicating with Sasquatch. But we have documented through the years, keeping the connection alive is not made easy by our present-day society and culture.
Right, I'm not a big go to the neighbor's house guy.
Yeah, the short articles to point you in the direction of our podcast, where you can hear these men and women experiences here at Peninsula. And stay tuned, because those are coming up. What's coming up, honey?
So some of the what's coming ups. I mean, there were various levels of encounter throughout the week,
That's
and it
true.
seemed like they were
Almost
tuned for each individual. It's like each individual
it's
had
amazing.
the experience they kind of came for at the level of intensity that was most comfortable in some way.
And they wanted.
Yeah. Well, like, people said they wanted a certain thing. Like, I want to see him face to face.
No, that's not always.
But that's actually not what they, I think, truly wanted.
I was going more by the comments after their encounters. They would say, that's exactly what I came here to have. This is exactly what I wanted.
That, yes.
So
in hindsight, exactly what they wanted.
Yeah.
When they showed up, everybody wants the same thing. It's like, I want to go sit down with the Sasquatch sitting on this bench right here and, have a chat.
Yeah.
But, it doesn't happen that way.
No.
The Sasquatch will be sitting right there, but it'll be 3:00 in the morning and you'll be often as not terrified.
Well, they're very careful. I mean, some of the young ones will go out to scare you, and that happened to me this time. I'm not very easily scared.
You got startled. You did.
The Sasquatch kids have been, I think, making bets to see who could startle me and none of them won. And this trip, something like a shadow, semi-cloaked shadow, so I could see it went past through in front of us really fast across the road in the middle of the night, in the middle of the dark.
Yes.
And that startled me too. I think he left his aroma behind.
His aroma, yes. True. It wasn't terrible.
Kids, I know.
So inside these interviews, you will hear people describing their experiences of, like, tree breaks, like a tree break. I mean, that doesn't seem like a big thing. Like, a tree broke in the woods.
But like,
when you're out doing research on Sasquatch and you're going to a place that you've been led to and guided to, and you bring a bunch of Todd and expeditioners, and you walk in the woods, and then you hear an unmistakable sign, like, of presence. It's like a communication not like an elk stepping on a tree branch.
Mhm.
It's not that kind of break,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Well, foot stomps,
Yes. Boom,
and
boom, boom.
you know, and a bipedal foot stomp. So it's like those aren't the same as a four-legged
Elk.
whatever elk or bear walking in the woods. It's 4 legs, you can tell.
Yeah.
2 legs, you can hear. And
Mm.
2-legged foot stomps,
Mm.
or even one big foot stomp, you can hear that.
Yeah.
Then if you hear a foot stomp and you go look at where it was and find a track,
There you have it.
or trackways, 3
Yes.
prints or
Yeah.
more, then it's like, okay, these are putting pieces together. It's not just one little bit of evidence. It's the combination of the sound, the break, and then the stomp, and then, oh, there's a track here too. And, oh, it does a pretty dang big barefoot person over here. We had Hoots. Now,
Yes.
when you go, give a hoot, honey.
That's a little one so that they wouldn't break your ears. Can you hear one back?
No, but in our experience this week, we did. Ooh, there's one.
No, that's a rooster.
Well, the rooster answering back. Somebody did.
Oh my God.
Hoots with it. How about that?
That's the guys with their drill. He's hyperventilating now. No.
Yeah, well, you gotta have, when you have a group of people and some people are like a little bit eager to hear something and other ones are like, yeah, I heard that too, and that was a drill. Yeah, I heard that was a rooster. So it's not like everything is a Sasquatch. It's like nothing,
right.
everything's an alien. It's like, yeah, that one I thought, and it's like, oh no. not
We did
that.
see a lot of UFOs
Well, okay, we
and a
did
lot
see.
of satellites, but the satellites were not the UFOs and the UFOs were not the satellites. So we saw a whole bunch of them. Anyways.
Anyway, Hoots with answers of
Yes.
Hoots
Yeah.
that were clearly connected to the hoot you just made.
Mhm.
Multiple replies.
Yes.
We had tree structures, which are almost de rigueur.
The rooter?
De rigueur. If you're going to go out in the woods, you're going to find some structures.
Yes.
Tree structures with prints.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We get a lot of those here, like a ton of them.
One of the things we haven't had a lot of is shapeshifting.
No, but we did have that one of
And
those.
shapeshifting is very evident when you see you see something that is resembling a something that doesn't even exist here. Like a giant black wolf. That's
Yes. That's it.
say either shapeshifting or interpretation. Your brain saying it's
Right.
a wolf because it's a Sasquatch, and it's
Mhm.
so your brain says no, it's a wolf.
Oh, they can
Or it
actually
could be
change their
shapeshifted
shape.
into.
But also, I mean, it could have this person who saw it, it's Brian, and he knows a bear in the distance. He's been in these woods and knows them like the back of his hand, and he knows a bear or a wolf when he sees one, right? And there's no wolves here, so when he sees a giant black wolf running down
down the road.
he knows there's something odd and
It's not
not as wolf.
right in the middle of a Sasquatch expedition.
Yeah.
Actually, this was at the end of the expedition, right when
And he goes off into his own space,
Right. Yeah.
and that's where he
Well, the story's in there. You're gonna have to
Yeah.
listen.
Yeah.
Portal cracks. I mean, what the hell is even a portal crack?
So we have talked about the portal cracks in previous episodes, and they sound, if you can imagine a giant boulder landing next to you onto concrete, or if you can imagine a giant tree snapping in two,
Or even lightning, kind of.
yeah, like a lightning
there.
right next to you.
Yeah. Crack.
Yeah.
That's a portal crack.
Yeah.
They're clearly invisible. They have invisibility, cloaking.
The
Skills.
Sasquatch do. Yeah.
They invisible to you before.
Uh-huh. We've
More
talked
than
about that
once.
before.
Talked
Yeah.
about that before. You stood there and communicated with them and asked them if they could make you invisible, and they did. And I walked right by you, not 2 feet away, with my dog. And neither one of us saw you until we turned around, came back, sniffed around for a long time, and then you slowly came
Yeah.
to be appeared. So
But that wasn't in this
not in
year.
this one. This year there was a lot of invisibility, cloaking, and
Yes.
shimmering, and multiple people saw it.
Saw them. Yes. The
And not
shimmer.
only that, we interacted with those
shimmer.
shimmers
Yeah.
where they were right in front of us, and we put our hands in them.
Yes.
And your hand changes
What happened?
right in
to
front of your eyes. You put your hand in the shimmer,
Uh-huh.
and it goes transparent with little stars inside of it.
Wow, that's amazing.
And if you push further,
With witnesses, okay?
if you push further, it gets warmer and warmer and warmer
And then
until you're
eventually-
almost like going to be touching fur. And
Yes.
you're coming back up a little.
Yeah.
So when you're having a face-to-face encounter and that's a little too much, you don't have that same problem when they're in their
In
cloak.
a cloak, yeah.
So we had multiple people with face-to-face encounters with them while they're cloaked,
Mhm.
which made it
Easier.
very much easier.
Mhm.
Yeah. And hands turning into invisible black. It's like my hand, it's not my hand. A friend of ours,
Yeah.
his hand, it's gone. Where's my hand? Yeah. So we had a lot of experiences
Yes.
this week. Peak experiences, all of them, and not everyone had all of them.
Right.
Everyone had the one they were here for,
Indeed.
and the level of that they could like
Interact
tolerate
and tolerate.
comfortably. It's like
Yes.
I think everyone left with a big giant smile,
Mhm.
and knowing inside it's like, yeah, there's something going on here.
Yeah. Even I had a special experience. I got startled by one of those kids and won the bet.
And I had one of those experiences. Those little kids knocked my canoe over.
Oh my God. Yes.
You got to hear about that. So give it a listen.
Yeah. Stay tuned. Here comes the interviews. See you next time.
Because, honey. Alrighty. Welcome, honey,
Welcome.
to
Today.
another episode of, I don't know, make it up. Drive it to the res, honey. Drive it to the res.
Yes.
With our favorite hosts.
I don't think we have to do all that. We have an intro.
I just practicing.
Okay. Are
Got
you
the-
practicing?
Yeah. What?
Okay.
You know what's the next line? Larry and,
Inelia.
okay, and
Brian.
Brian.
Yeah.
So you're going to introduce yourself in Makah?
At this point in time, I don't think I'm allowed to.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
We fell for that one.
we tried to. We tried to.
Here, I'll make it short.
Okay.
All right.
A whole clock saw. That clock saw means I'm addressing a bunch of people at one time. So all of you out there, that's hello.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love
thank
it, Bri.
Mhm.
He's a good teacher.
you. Yes.
So this week we had a pretty interesting experience. Once a year, our friend Todd Standing comes out. He'll bring a few what he can do. He calls expeditioners. We call new best friends.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, and we spend a week off of our normal life and jump into, I guess, what's Todd's normal life, which is morning, noon, and night.
That's Sasquatch.
Sasquatch,
Sasquatch.
walking, talking, speaking,
Mm-hmm.
thinking, connecting, and all that. So our regular life got shut off for a week. I mean, your normal week is like get up in the morning, right? You drive off, I guess, in the woods and looking for somebody once in a while.
Yep.
Then you go to work at the tribe and fix what's broken.
Yeah. Maintenance worker.
Yes.
Maintenance worker.
You fix what's broken.
Yep.
But when Todd's here, it's wake up in the morning and go to the land, meet the guys. Usually wake them up because they've been up till 3 or 4.
Right?
Yeah, give them a shake. Come on, guys, time to go look.
Force down the coffee so they can wake up and get ready to go.
Right?
Find all their things for the day.
Yeah, and some of them are faster in the morning than others. Got to say. And this time, Todd brought his kids, his young daughter and his son. They were just magnificent, well behaved, interested, engaging children.
Yes.
Right.
I was really impressed with them.
Very impressed.
So usually in the morning you would take the crew and go find a place on the res because I would be like an hour away.
Yep.
And I think the first place you brought them this trip was one of the most impactful places, I think, for you of the week. Is that about right?
Yeah, it was actually. We went up. I guess I'm not going to. Can we do that?
You can say where in
Area.
realities.
Area? Yeah.
Because nobody's
just
going to know where that is unless they come and hang out with us because they don't know where that is.
Generally say Cape area. We'll
Cape
just say
area.
that.
Yeah. Out to
Okay.
Cape. We call it out the Cape.
Yeah.
And there's a nice trail that goes to the northwest tip of the United States, but that's not where we were. But we were close.
Yeah. And right away, it was kind of like my first meeting of all the people that came and the guys that came, but we're getting out of the trucks. We're walking in through a gate and we're talking about everything, right? Hello, how are you?
Hello.
I'm from here. I'm from.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, you know, we're all walking, talking, and I hear the loudest tree break. Like there was no, we all stopped instantly and looked at each other and go,
What?
you hear that? And we're like, yeah,
Yeah, I heard that.
definitely 100%. So yeah, it was like, hello, I'm here, you know, hey, you guys be quiet. I'm trying to say something here, but we were busy, you know, introducing ourselves and stuff.
I guess the Sasquatch are introducing themselves too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, I don't know if you haven't heard a tree break from Sasquatch. It's a little different than like somebody stepping on a stick, you know.
Right.
It has some amplitude and force.
Yeah.
And it's like non secular either. It's like it's not windy.
Windy and kaboom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Situationally like relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, there's those who say, well, how do you know it was a tree break? Well, I've grown up out in the wilderness,
And everything.
hunting and everything. I've trailed, I've spooked animals, a whole herd of elk at one time, and they can't, I don't know.
They can
What
break
I've-
trees and
They
branches.
can break trees and branches,
ain't
but it's nothing like
Not like a tree.
not like a Sasquatch tree break.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not. It's like if all of the elk in the entire herd jumped on a giant log at once and busted it.
And snapped it.
Yeah, and then didn't make any other noise
Right. No noise before or after.
before or after.
And there's two ways that Sasquatch do it. I mean, they do it with their hands, obviously,
Smacking
and
a
they
tree or
also will
something.
do it. They'll also do it with their foot. And they'll stomp a nice big log that's, you know, and they'll snap it with one big giant kick. So when you hear those things, sometimes if you can pinpoint the area where it came from, then that's how we do Sasquatch research. We're researching, so we try to go to that place, try to find it, and the mystery is, hey, let's find where that tree break is, because if it's a stomp, they may also be a big stomp footprint right where it went down into the soil. So that's, I guess, what you'd call research.
Yeah.
Identifying what made that.
Right, we have a spiritual sense of, I mean, it's not like every time we go in the woods, everything that ever happens is, there's a Sasquatch. Oh, there's a Sasquatch. There's situation, there's connection, there's communication, there's
It's intent
intent,
to connect.
right, to connect. I mean, we could go hunting, walking in the woods, we hear a tree break. Okay, there's probably some bear, some elk over there, right?
Yeah.
It's different though.
But
They sound very different.
right. When you're going researching Sasquatch, you'll most likely, I mean, so far in all of the trips that I've made, I haven't heard the herd of elk running off for some reason.
Yeah.
You did?
Done by the well road.
Down by the well road. Yeah, but it's like a herd of
Loud.
elk running through the woods. It's like a herd of cows.
Loud.
That's
It's scary.
right.
Yeah.
But usually when we're walking around for Sasquatch, I don't know, it's like,
Quiet.
it's quiet.
It's
Frogs
usually,
now
it's
and then.
usually quiet. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's pretty quiet.
Mhm.
Because they know when, I mean, that might sound a little woo, but they have a pretty good idea that we're coming because we've talked to them ahead of time. And we connect with them. It's like, where should we go to meet up? Want to meet up at Washburn's parking lot? Nope. Want to meet up at the marina? Out on the boat? Nope. Want to meet up at the Cape, up the road on the, sidetrack there?
Sure.
You know, the one I have in my mind? Sure. Okay, I'm going to bring some new friends. Oh, nice. All right, and then when you get there and you're meeting them, and then you hear the big, huge plonk crash. Well, you know what it is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that
You know what happened.
and that reminds me of when Todd came out here 2 2 years ago, when he called me on the phone like a week or so before he was going to be here.
Yep.
And he wanted to know if I had some places where I could take him. So I says, "Oh no, I'll get back to you." So about 7 or 8 days before he came, I went up into this areas by myself and meditated in different spots. Take 10 minutes or so and just bring yourself in, put it out there, ask the questions. Hey, I got a friend coming. Would you like to meet him? Is this the area that I should take him?
Yep.
And lo and behold, Todd gets here a week or so later. Monday, we do all the introductions. We go to different places. Then he calls me. He said, "Look, hey, Brian, do you have any place you'd like to take us?" So I said, "Sure." We go up there and
I remember.
yeah,
It was on like Donkey Kong. Signs everywhere.
right. The guy from Oklahoma was riding in the back seat, and we're going up into this area where I was. And he looks out the window and he goes, "Hey, a tree break." And I'm like, "Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I was just here, like 4 or 5 days ago." So we stop and get out, and lo and behold, here's a tree break. And what do we do when we look for tree breaks?
We look for more.
We look
Print.
for
yeah.
a print, and here, lo and behold, there's
Also look for more, because if
a print there.
one random thing is just one random thing, but if there's 2 or 3 of those random things, then they're not so random.
Right.
And
Print or a couple of the breaks.
and this is not like right on the side of the road. It's like
Up there.
25 feet or 30 feet away from the road. So, you
You
could.
can rule out some normal things.
I was there and I did a good look around when I was there, because I was probably 50 yards from there. I stopped on my bike. I was on my motorcycle, took my helmet off, had my peace time, put it out there. So I was telling them, I literally was right over there,
You would have seen it.
Yeah. You would notice it because you were looking for it.
And it was so cool, though. I mean,
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I remember that.
that just don't happen by chance, I don't think.
No way.
Yeah.
All right.
It was great, though.
This was a good week.
Oh yeah, lots of happenings.
So Brian, when is the first time that you heard about Sasquatch?
I've always heard about Sasquatch growing up from my grandparents and aunts and uncles. And man, I don't know if I want to tell on myself, but I was a super hyperactive kid. And
In
some
the
of
forest?
yeah, right. I mean, anywhere, but mainly I'd always be told that to be home at a certain time, right? And we'd be out in the woods playing, jumping from tree to tree and things like that. And I'd be in trouble because I was always out there kind of till dark, but I got told a few times, "You better get back here because Sasquatch will take you."
Sasquatch will take you. Yeah.
So,
And it gets dark pretty late in the summer around
right?
here.
Yeah.
11, 12. Yeah.
You only know what that means when you become a parent.
Yes.
When you're the kid, you don't ask,
Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. Nothing wrong with it.
But no, through my life I've been, but I haven't been curious about making contact, or I don't know, some people call it looking for Sasquatch. And I've learned so much in these last 4 or 5 years that if you're going to hunting a Sasquatch,
Yeah.
it's probably likely not going to happen to see or hear anything, because you need to learn how to, I call it humbling yourself, looking inside yourself, enjoying interacting with the nature around us. And when you're out there enjoying nature, they're watching you and they see you enjoying the nature. They're going to reveal themselves to you somehow, some way, whether it's that feeling you go, "I definitely feel something looking at me." The feeling.
I know that. Too.
So yeah,
That one's usually a good tell for me, like everybody else.
Right.
Oh, shit, I'm scared to death of going over there. So there's probably one over there. You guys might want to go look first.
and some of us associate that with there's a predator, like a bear or a cougar or something. But there are these other beings out there that I've heard, and I have actually eyewitnessed one, and I've been contacted by them
Yeah, there's no other
before.
way to say
I
it.
mean, just blatantly yelled at.
Mm-hmm.
But it was for a reason, because they put this image in my mind for no reason, that I'm out on a Sunday morning early drive just looking for wildlife and things. And I get yelled at, and I get back in my truck to take off, and I'm getting this picture in my mind, and it keeps flashing of this road that so I'm like, I must have to go look for this road. And the picture, it comes to me that, just back there about 200 yards, I passed a road that really looks similar to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I get back there, I walk up this road, and I find something that
Shouldn't be there, huh?
shouldn't be there.
Just to be clear, he got yelled at by a Sasquatch, because I don't think anything else yells at you in the woods like that.
No.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not easily mistaken for anything else. And then he got images in his head
Of a road he
of
just
a road he needs to go look up. So you went up that road, and you found something that it shouldn't be there, and it's kind of like, as an elder of the Makah tribe, your responsibility to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, how I interpreted that encounter, or that whole thing that happened to me, was there was a wasteful situation that Master of the Forest was upset about, and he wanted me to see it so I would be
Handle it.
upset about or handle it in a way where
with your youth.
Yeah. That's your responsibility. That's our
Yeah.
responsibility,
Yeah.
right? Not his. He told who's responsible to handle, who he can communicate with. Because probably he tried to tell other guys of the tribe, but our tribe has been a little bit cut off from him
right.
for a while
Yeah.
at the level that you are. And so the only one that he can talk to, is a handful of people, you,
Right.
myself, and you're the one that's in the woods there.
And that's not all that's happened to me. I've had several pictures, and I've projected pictures out to where whatever I'm projecting it to is going to receive that picture, and ask the questions of, what if this is what I'm being told and this is what the picture looks like? So I'm interpreting what I want to say, but projecting it into a picture and putting it out there. And I've gotten answers.
That's really cool.
That is so powerful.
That's
I mean,
cool.
and the tree break that was associated with that answer
Yeah.
was astronomical. It was like, boom.
Like TNT, yeah. That's
And
freaking cool.
remember we had this conversation. I don't know if it was you and I or somebody, that this is a little bit woo, people, but I'm going to put it out there anyway, real quickly.
Okay.
That boom sometimes, from what I've heard from different people, is, oh yeah, they're coming back in, they're coming out of a portal or into a portal, and then it's an explosion.
That
Sounds like a gunshot,
Right.
and I'm like,
Uh-huh.
whoa. But I'm not ready to quite go there yet. But
Well,
yeah.
we did go to Lemuria.
I was going to mention it, but I thought, no, I'll leave it alone, see if it comes in. Totally came in. You totally picked it up, man.
It would
Yeah.
it would surprise me in one
Yeah.
bit, just because of their capabilities are so amazing. People really don't understand. I didn't understand when I first got into it, but as I did my due diligence, working on myself, spiritually opening my receptors and stuff, it
That's
just
coming.
it
Go in. It does. I mean, it inevitably you end up there. It's like, okay, so interdimensional portals. I guess that's a word. I mean,
Yeah. And it's not like complicated, it's like
there's a larger
here, there's the river over there,
Yeah,
it
quick
doesn't have
travel
to be from a
spots.
different dimension or anything,
Can we just
right?
tree to tree?
Yeah. It's a tree.
Would you
Right.
guys like to hear a cool story that happened to me this morning?
Okay,
Sure.
So
Okay. I go to the campsite where the expedition took place,
right.
and I was helping clean up there, and there was a gentleman that was still there putting some of his tent stuff away. So we visited for a little bit, and we said our goodbyes. I cleaned up, and I was on my way home, and I go by this one bridge. Every time, usually I go by there, I stop and I do a couple. People probably think I'm crazy, but I do these Sasquatch calls there.
Mm-hmm.
And I do a couple calls, but for some reason I look behind me, and all the way over on the highway behind me, I see this black, what I thought was a dog at first.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I brushed it off, and I did the call again, but I looked where that so-called dog was, and he stopped and looked at me and just stared at me. And this is like more than a quarter mile away.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But it started to look more and more, and I'm going to be kind of touchy on this, is that it started to look more and more like a black wolf. So I'm excited now, right?
Right.
So I'm going, this thing is going to run all the way down this highway, and it's probably a mile. And I'm over here on the logging road, and I know I can drive down there and intercept it because it's going that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I get in my truck and I'm going like 60 over there, and I'm like expecting to see this thing over there. I get over there and it's gone. So I go down and turn around and come back, and I'm like, well, maybe it was just off the road. But I mean, it's an open area, and I'm expecting to see this black wolf, what I thought was a wolf. That's all I can say. After looking at it and studying it, I'm like,
we got a lot of black wolves in our area.
We don't have no wolves of any color.
Well, that's
That's
I had to check myself for over a half an hour going, no, could it be? Really? And I'm like, there's no way that this thing could have ran that mile without me seeing it, because I was over there in about, I would say, less than 5 minutes I was there.
right.
What do you think about the Sasquatch able to project an image into your head? Because we saw, well, one of our friends saw a burnt, what's it called? The tree stump in the woods behind us.
Oh yeah.
And she's like, I don't remember ever seeing that
stump
burnt
there.
tree stump there before. And she didn't think anything of it, but it's like she kept looking at it going, I've never seen it before. It's bizarre. And she left, and then a few days later, both of us were walking up there, and she said, I'm going to show you this tree stump that's burnt over here. And she's looking and looking. No, there's no one there. There's no burnt. No, there's never been one there. And there wasn't one there. So, and then we saw, remember that documentary where they have actually a film of a Sasquatch
Walking along.
turning into a
And then
stump.
sit down like that and turned into a stump.
Yeah, it looks like a stump.
Look just like a stump.
And a person's walked by them and
Don't notice it. And then when they leave, they gets up and
pick it
goes.
up and goes. I mean,
I saw one that did it with a branch, leaned over like that,
Yes.
and it turned into a branch.
so
And then- yeah.
the wolf, right, could be like what they were projecting. Just a theory.
Yeah.
To test out, because that would be more like, oh, it's a big black dog.
Yeah,
It'd be more like what you might think, rather than this is Sasquatch running
that's
down
what's
there.
standing on the road over there.
It was just I know what dogs look like when they're,
Yeah.
but it was a little bit too lanky and a little bit too big, and the way it run,
A little bit not right.
just
When I saw one coming here, running across.
Yeah, we did
first
see
thing
one run through here, right through this.
Yeah, so the first thing I thought was bear, but the bears don't have long legs and arms that
Like-
swing, Like, I don't think bears run on 2 legs with arms swinging. What do you think?
no, there's no one like that.
Like 3 times the size of the local bears.
Absolutely not. Yeah. But I mean, that's
You still think that.
what did it for me though is this is a spot that I go to regularly, and I was doing calls there, and I felt this presence behind me,
So you look.
and I look,
Yeah.
and lo and behold, but
There's something.
maybe this could be possible, and I'm not sure yet, but hey, that's what we do this for, is the ability to shapeshift, maybe,
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
knows?
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, it could be stump, could be a wolf, could be a smaller or bigger.
At this point,
Or it could have been a
I've experienced-
Sasquatch. And your brain said that can't be it. It's got to be a wolf because it ain't a dog. It ain't a bear. So a wolf.
From what I've experienced, though, they have the ability to project a picture into your
They can.
mind.
Yeah.
I've actually experienced that. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, if a Sasquatch was looking for you, that's where he'd go on the last day of an expedition because he knows you'll be there hooting.
Right. Yeah.
And we had one following us up the river. You saw him shapeshifting, or not shapeshifting, predator, like pixelating on the other side of the river.
Yep.
Some of the expeditioners.
Nobody's seen it but me.
You saw the pixelate. The son, Todd's son, heard it growl at him.
Yeah.
He'd stepped down off a log into some mud, and he was trying to get up the tree. And his dad has told him to talk to them when he's in. He says, "So, can you help me get up?" And then the Sasquatch went. He was scrambled right up that tree, no problem. No problem. He heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard when that area that you saw it, I thought it was like voices and, but more than one voices, you know? And, but it's almost like you turn your ear around to like try and figure out if it's true or real or could it be something else?
Right.
And it's like, it comes and goes. It's really subtle.
Yeah.
But then the forest went really quiet. So,
Right. I did notice that.
Yeah.
It was really quiet.
Yeah.
well,
Well,
So
yeah.
every year it seems like it gets more and more, the relationship building more and more,
I
right?
think so, yeah.
So like the first year was like almost too scared myself to go out the back door, let alone sit in the woods in the nighttime, right? And now the 5th year, just traipsing along in the middle of the dang night, no lights, no nothing, right over piles of bear poop that we can't even see. It's so dark, but we can feel it. Oh, that's our bears. Yeah.
That reminds me of a couple years back. We were sitting in the trailer
Yeah.
talking, and it was pitch black dark out.
Yeah.
And we hear these vocalizations. So we're like, yeah, we're going outside. Of course, Todd's first one out there. He's
Of
standing. And I'm getting to the edge of the trailer coming down the steps. And I go to step down. And I can't see, right? I'm kind of still blinded from the light. And I step down, and here comes a black dog, ran right by my feet. And I was like, whoa, what was that? So I'm like halfway back up into the stairs because I didn't see what it was, but it ended up circling around and coming back, and it was a black dog. And I was,
Reminds me the other day when we were in the night walking down one of the logging roads, and that startle energy. I'm usually pretty good at not getting startled because I usually sense them when you're near us. And this black shadow just went past us, in front of us, across the path.
Like 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, like so fast, right? And it was tall. And I was like, startled me. It's like, I'm not easily startled, but that really startled me. Like, oh,
I remember he said that. What's that? And I was like, uh-oh, we're dead. It's over. So much for being brave.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that was
that
good.
startle is, that's
startle.
real. It's
Yeah.
real.
Yeah. Yeah, but we are getting, as a group, I think, more capable.
I think
Because
so.
when the noises happen, I mean, I still go back and tell everybody, go over there. But then I go over there.
Yeah,
Not go over there and I'll see you later.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think
Better.
they appreciate that, meeting them halfway, because they don't really want to, at least I don't think they want to scare the crap out of me.
No, that's the thing. I mean, the young ones do.
Young ones don't mind.
The young
Watch
ones
this.
scare you.
Well, this is what I've been finding out too, just from my own research, you'd say, is that they have compassion for us as their friends, so to speak. They don't want to scare the living crap out of you unless you're being really disrespectful to
Yeah.
the land or whoever. You're a
Another
bad person or, animals or whatever. So they're only going to give you what they think you can take. So it might be little bits and pieces here and there, or you know what I mean? Otherwise, lo and behold, they're going to scare the living daylights out of you if you're not ready for it, right?
Seems that way. I
Yeah.
gotta say.
Yeah, it does. It actually does. And I've heard other people talk about that as well. So,
So, Brian, what would be your like parting words that you would leave our audience with regarding connecting with Sasquatch and nature and your experience, what you would impart to them?
oh, okay. Yeah. I think if you're interested in the subject, I think the most important advice that I could give to somebody would be, most of all, connect with yourself, but also connect with nature. Everything that's around you is all part of this world that we're in. And the more you enjoy it, technology has gotten us so far away from who we truly are to be connected to the land. I think we need to come back and get connected more with the land. So just enjoy nature and enjoy being out in it. I mean, you get to breathe the freshest air and,
Oh yeah.
we're just kind of having this conversation about raising children nowadays.
Yeah, totally. It is.
Some of the little kids, they grow up with an iPad or a tablet in their hand.
I'm glad they didn't have them when I was a kid.
I know.
Put them outside and give them some of this.
Get some of that to play with.
Say, hey, study this. Learn how the tops of the needles are compared to that one over there. Just connect back with nature. I think if it be in the will of the beings want to make connection with you, it'll happen. But it's just a thing, man. Enjoy nature.
Enjoy nature.
You're right. Enjoy nature. That's the first task. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Brian, for
Thank
being.
you.
Yeah, I had a great time.
Yeah.
And I always have a great week with you.
Yeah, that was
We
fun.
have so much fun with Brian.
We eat like kings and we go to places on the res that
Oh my
I didn't
God.
even know were.
He keeps them secret.
He has a pile of secret spots.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, well,
He shared one with us yesterday. It was amazing. I'm still dreaming of that, man.
I'll be there.
well, we will go again, and
Okay.
hey, whatever happens, happens, and if anything cool happens that we feel we can share, we'll probably definitely share it. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was cool. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks, Brian. Welcome to another interview for the Sasquatch episode of Driving to the Ritz.
Yes.
Anyway, we just got done listening to Brian. Brian's experiences of weeks worth of expeditioning with Todd. We also had friend Toby around, did some interviews and some explorations of his own. And in the week, all of us seem to have had I don't know, I call it something like a peak experience. One that really impacted us. It's like the Sasquatch this week put on, I wouldn't say a show, but
A more connective experience. I think.
connected with each of us in a way that's perfect for each of us.
Yep.
Yeah. And maybe not just as individuals, but also as part of the group, right? So it's a group that has this and that and the other. And
So we have
Dr.
Dr. Kara.
Hello.
You everybody knows her, of our panelists.
Yeah.
Keepers.
If not, then check out the second hour and you will.
I wanted to ask you, Kara, Dr. Kara,
Doctor.
sorry.
Okay.
What was your most experience that impinged the most with regards to Sasquatch?
Oh, this past week?
Uh-huh.
Yes, there was one excursion we had that definitely impinged on my field of experience.
Okay.
So I'll tell you a little bit more about the setup and then what happened.
Okay.
Because
Okay, good. Yeah, give us the story, the whole
here's
story.
the whole story. So
You woke up in the morning. Did you have breakfast?
we'll skip that part of the story.
Okay, you had lunch. What'd you have for lunch?
Let's give the people what they want. I don't think they want to hear what I had for lunch. Although we did have a very good dinner.
Okay. So-
Actually, maybe that is where the story should start. No, we actually it's Friday night, and every Friday at the Shaman Shack we have Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, that's true. We had
Yeah.
a goblin cook for us.
We had a guest appearance who played with us, which was super fun. And we also had some other folks who weren't playing, who were cooking, and
Paella.
we learned how to make paella the real way. It was amazing. So I think the reason why we start the story here is because, imagine like 3 or 4 hours of like lots of laughter, connection, cooking with our food, and just enjoying the evening. Yeah. And
Like perfect evening.
yeah,
In
it
all the
really
ways.
is.
Like learning.
We learned.
Somebody who wanted to teach, be able to teach.
Yes.
Have eager and interesting students and play in the games. And yeah.
Yeah. We had a lot of.
We had like 3 dinners and 4 desserts or something.
We literally had like 3 dinners and at least 2 desserts.
Yes.
Range of ice creams and cakes is amazing.
Yeah.
So yes, lots of high caliber men who made that possible. But anyway, I think this is important because we had spent several hours like gelling as a group, right? And enjoying each other's company and laughing and, it was really great. And so by the time we had finished this 5-course meal, actually it was more like 2 very big courses all at once, like fresh bison steaks.
Yeah,
And
or 1.5-inch thick bison steak.
it was like filet mignon, soft and luxurious, and then the massive seafood paella. We had eaten so much and we're very full. And good thing we were, because we were about to go on a 3 to 4 hour long hike past midnight for the rest of the evening.
I thought I said too. It was like, oh no, we'll just be 15, 20 minutes, half hour max.
Yes.
I've learned over the years never to trust Larry when he says that. Don't even try.
Get there, but you didn't say, and we're going to stay there 3 hours.
Yes, I knew better. So
You were well packed.
I actually came prepared with my gloves and my hat, and I brought a blanket.
Everything.
And I even was like the couple,
Water.
yeah,
Water.
brought a backpack.
Your backpack with some food.
Yep. Make sure, like, are you sure you don't want to pack a blanket with you? No, I'll be fine. Okay.
Okay.
And then,
But you knew better.
yeah. So we were well prepared to go on a late night hike, which of course would only take 30 minutes, right?
Just a little ways.
15, sure.
What number do you need to hear to go? Because once
Yeah.
you're committed, it's too late. You
It's
can't go
true. It's what you need to hear to get inspired to make the journey.
back. Oh yeah, we can do a 15-minute walk. Sure.
Yeah.
Probably the walk was 15 minutes, wasn't it?
I don't know.
It's probably like a 30-minute walk.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think it was,
I'm just used to it so much that I thought it was 15.
yes.
Yeah, that's a 15-minute walk.
We'll get to that part of the story.
Okay.
So gather up all of our gear. Not everyone wanted to go on the, excursion, which is totally fine. I think that's a really important point, actually, is you have to like be drawn to it, and it's not something you want to force someone to go on, because it's not good for the energies of the situation. But we did have a couple of guys who were like really excited to have an experience that night. And I felt I had like major FOMO of missing out the previous night.
Man, oh boy, did you miss out.
I know.
We're
Like
going to hear about that experience in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Ashley.
Yeah. So that also helped. It was the day after like the most incredible Sasquatch experience literally one could probably ever have. And I wasn't
Agreed.
there. So I was like, well,
Dang it.
I'm
I'm going to have this experience.
better have this experience. It wasn't the only motivation, but it was a good push.
It helped.
It helps, yeah. And how often, are we organized ourselves enough to like go Sasquatching every night?
No, we don't.
We don't do.
Once a
All
year.
the Todd's here
Yeah.
that week.
We do have every once in a while a random thing, but not like go in the middle of the night for 4 hours to
Not very,
connect.
never. Not hardly really.
Yeah.
Not ever I can remember.
If anything, it's like, oh, look at that tree brick. That's cool. Walks away.
Oh, no, there's a footprint right there. Do you want to cast it? No.
Good. All right. So
Hey, it's midnight. Anybody want to go for a walk?
there's one time we did chasing cats.
Oh, yeah,
It
we
was a
did.
different episode.
God. You know that kid who's still running around down
We saw him last night.
Yes, we saw it last night.
Well, at least we know it's
It's all
alive.
doing good and
I've seen
happy.
it several times.
So a very rare exception. Do we go outside
Yeah.
in the middle of the night?
Right.
No lights.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just not our
So
thing.
it's basically Sasquatch excursions with Todd and Kitty Bait.
Yes.
But for now,
So this time you would
excursion with Todd. Yes.
we
So
ate all that dinner and it's freaking dark out.
Yeah.
Like, hey guys, let's go for a walk into the middle of the woods just for 15 minutes. See if we can find any Sasquatch signs.
And I looked outside, and to me, the sky looked like daylight. And I told everybody, it's super bright outside. The sky is super bright, and everything will be great.
Yeah.
And then I noticed that when we got to the forest,
pitch black.
everybody was walking around like you couldn't see anything.
Because it was dark, honey.
There was no moon either.
And I thought it was a full moon because that's what I was seeing, a full moon.
It was the no moon.
No moon.
And
no
then
moon.
I heard somebody saying, oh, it's going to be a new moon tomorrow, the day after. And like, dissonance, you know? Like, what's it called?
Like cognitive dissonance?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it it's kind of bizarre because there was no moon, which means it's really dark when you're on an excursion in the woods out at night. But it was still like workable and doable. And
Right. Until we got by the pond.
see.
Yeah.
Got by the pond, it
That was
turned pretty
dark,
black.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
when we started, we also had lights on. But when you're going to go on a midnight walk to meet Sasquatches, you don't turn on the lights because it
No, you gotta
Todd-
adjust.
hurts their eyes.
That's it. Just switch off all your lights. No
Yeah.
lights.
And you want your own eyes to adjust.
Exactly.
And, and it adds to the experience of like,
Oh, yes.
I'm hiking in the middle of the woods at night. Okay.
No lights.
Yeah, that's Kara, too. She's like 100 feet in front of us, all by herself. Like,
Set.
come on, guys, let's go. Like, she's so far out there by herself.
But I wasn't by myself. I
Well, yeah, over there you were.
He was stuck to me. He was stuck
I
to me.
did see that. That was quite funny. But I wasn't by myself. It's different when you've got like 8 guys behind you and Inelia and Todd and Larry. I was like, okay,
Fine.
I'll be fine. And there is something to be said about having like a pack of really strong,
People.
high caliber men who are like there. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm
This is
good.
good.
I'm good. Like this will be just fine. So we went on a logging trail in the wilderness of the Olympic Peninsula, which is basically like a dirt packed road in the middle of a tree farm forest.
Well, they call it a tree farm, but,
It's a forest.
it's
Yeah.
pretty much trees, lots of trees.
Lots of trees. And it's very close to Larry and Inelia's
House.
primary residence, their hill house.
Yep.
This is key to the story. So,
Okay.
so basically, we park at the bottom of the hill where their house is, and then keep going left, and that's the direction we were going for the excursion that night. And you had gotten like some specific guidance about where to go. Can you share more about that?
Yeah, so Larry said, where are the Sasquatch going to be tonight? And I said, I don't know. I didn't ask them. Did you want me to ask them?
Yeah,
So can
please.
you ask the Sasquatch?
Where are we going to meet them tonight with the guys?
Yes. So I got like several answers. One of them was a part of the next door land, our neighbor's land, near the road. Very easy to get to. Camp there, you're going to have a very great experience. And then there was a different answer because there was 2 people in the group that needed an experience. And that wasn't going to get them into that state of the experience, or the connection, or whatever that was needed. I think it was like the connection part. So the connection part needed to happen by walking for a while, hiking for a while, and then when that connection's made, you're perfect. Because that's what we're going to be where we were going to be, basically.
Got it.
So I was looking at where could that be, and I saw that it was past the orange gate, get to the bridge where the pond is, and turn first right. Right? And I could see it all, and I'm like, yeah, I've never seen that, whatever. And we have been there before.
Well, I go there with the dogs.
Yeah.
Pretty
And
often.
when we got there, I looked around and go, oh, yeah, this is it. This is what I saw. This is where we have to stay, So
It's unusual from the rest because the floor is the road there doesn't have gravel. It's like grass moss and some blackberry bushes and
yeah,
like a path in between them.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that was the very first right.
That's the first right,
That was the
yes.
first one.
Yeah, so that was the guidance, right? So, yeah, in hindsight, it was probably like a 30-minute walk, but You know, 11 o'clock at night, it's pitch black, you got your gear, temperature's dropping, and, you know, you're trying to adjust and walk and just be like, oh, there's a hole there. Okay, everyone walk around that, you know? So it's like slow going, but it probably wasn't as slow as it felt, actually. But we came up to that first part where you usually take the dogs, Larry, on, and immediately I felt Sasquatch, like, strong.
What happened there? So Larry and I were
walking along, and I'm totally.
I think you hung back a little bit at that point.
Yeah.
Behind us.
Yeah.
Somehow I get to be in the front again.
Yeah. So Larry and me are in the front, and as we step into that area, a really big shadow goes from left to right in front of us.
Wow.
Really fast, right? And I don't get startled easily. And I got startled. I got startled. I go, like this, what was that? And he's like,
It
Oh, man.
was really exciting.
and it was like, they were right there. And you can tell that was a kid, you
Yeah.
know, because they're always doing stuff like that. And
They
the
like to
adults wouldn't
tease
do
us.
that. They do. They like to tease us. And it's like probably one of those, can you startle Inelia? Yeah, you can try.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like,
You're
they
hard
could
to-
never startle me, but that one did. So
You're hard to
one,
startle.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Totally won that one.
Snick
Well, that
there.
part of the walk, it's like the first part of the walk, it's a little bit, the trees are shorter. And when you get near the water, they're not allowed to cut the trees down. So it becomes all the old growth. But I don't know, they're big giant trees. So we entered that area. It was darker. And then sometimes the Sasquatch seem to like dim your vision even more. It's like misty, foggy dark. It's like, why is it so dark over there?
Oh, foggy. It's like, there was no fog.
No, it was a clear night. Like, not a cloud in the sky, no moon.
And then
Clear.
they zip right in front of you.
Yeah.
I know, that startled me.
I'm sad to miss that. But we get to this area and like the trees look different, the energy feels different, and they're like, boom, like
Surrounding
Sasquatch. Like
Yeah.
they are there. And that's where I started to feel like the excitement, nervousness, like, ooh, this just got real. And then, you know, there also the bridge, there's like a huge gap in the middle of it.
Yeah,
So
have to be so careful.
it's kind of dangerous. And here we are again, walking in the middle of the night.
No lights.
No lights. And so we're like,
Bridge with holes in it.
yeah, we're like, just stick to the left, guys. You'll be fine. And everyone's like, oh, okay.
And the guys that are with us are city guys, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not out in the woods
Forest.
kind of guys.
No. But we managed and we got.
So at that point, like that startle and everything, that was a point of questioning. They said, do you want a very intense, like, contact experience or a very
Like a
gentle?
pond or a gentle one where, yeah, it's like you hear
But
something
you're the
that
only
makes you
one who said,
exciting.
now strong here, and everybody else said gentle. So
Yeah.
She got overruled.
you could overrule.
It's okay. It wasn't about me anyways, it was about the guys, which we'll get to in that later on. But after we cross the bridge, we kind of get like, I don't know, however many meters.
5 more minutes.
Yeah, a 5 more minute walk. And then it was like, whoa, so different. Like the
Yes.
trees changed. And I was like, I don't feel them as strongly anymore. Like, whoa, it was like palpable how different the energy was from that section to like later on. And when we were moving up to that, I noticed you started to like walk backwards. You're like,
I had to turn around and try that for a while, try it out, because it was like, I can't walk forward anymore.
No.
that's one of the tells too, because when Larry starts to get nervous, Sasquatch are around because it's a physical body elemental thing, right? They,
Yeah, I've gotten much better at it than I was, but
yeah.
I could still feel it.
Yeah.
What I do with it now, more often than not, I use my reactivity training and get into my core.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's still a good,
But
like,
still tell.
it's a tell and it's a strong data points for like, oh, Sasquatch. are
Sasquatch are close.
close. So we keep walking, and then we see the turn on the right. And so we go down that road. And I think at this point, I'm like, I'm going, man. And I just
it just took off.
like took off and somehow dodging blackberry bushes in the middle of the night.
I don't know how you did it, because we followed after a bit,
and we
and it
got
was, like,
stuck on the
stuck.
blackberries.
trapped, and the bushes are grabbing us. Like, how the heck did they get through?
I just used my spidey senses and
Good.
asked the blackberries not to, trip me, which they didn't. So that was nice. So we find this nice clearing that's like, pretty open space in the middle of a forest, random, but that's what it was. And again, I saw in front of me and I'm like, that's where the Sasquatch are. Like, again, very powerful presence, not as intense as the pond, but I could tell, okay, yeah, they're here for sure. Like, and immediately I'm like, guys, go through into that tree, like under that canopy.
That's the
Sasquatch. And I tried, I like dragged one of the men with me. I'm like, come on.
Even Todd, I remember even Todd's like, what's the god into Karen? He's going over him. He's even too scared to go.
FOMO, man. It's very motivating. I was like, come on, guys, you're not going to let me like go in by myself, are you? And
Just like Ash did.
And then one of the guys was like, oh, yeah, I'll go with you. Yeah.
I can take care of it. Cover myself.
Yeah, it's good.
Sure. Yeah.
But it was so dense.
It was so dense. It's like one of those monoculture forests, and it's just the
It's just
impenetrable. And
Basically.
unless we were crawling on all fours, then we could probably get through. But it was just such thick brush with blackberries on top of it. And it was just like, okay, Nelly said this was going to be the gentle experience. And
Gentler.
maybe we don't need to push it. But we tried to like see if we could get in. We really couldn't. So we're like, all right, back to the clearing. Let's all
let's watch UFOs.
sit down and hang out.
1,000 UFOs go by, flicking and running and turning and
That
doing all
was
the things.
ridiculous. If it had been a UFO excursion,
Expedition.
100%.
1,000% success.
So well.
I do my best. Like 1,000% success.
Yes.
And
Yeah, we saw satellites, but we also saw not
There was
satellites.
there was plenty of satellites, but the ones I'm talking about, those are the ones suddenly appear, bright, move and vanish, right?
yeah,
Go in not a straight line.
Not a straight line, wobble, weeble, wobble.
yeah. There
They
were.
vanish because they're going up, like
It was crazy. There was one that was so bright. Like, you know how bright Venus is? It's the largest celestial body in the sky. Super bright, brighter than Venus. And then dims and then goes out,
Yes.
Yeah.
whatever out is. And we're like, huh.
I don't think that was
Probably not a satellite.
And there's no clouds. It's not like,
No,
oh,
behind the
my
cloud.
God.
No, there's no clouds.
And then there was
Still
a-
the stars behind it. so-
Exactly.
yeah.
And there's another one that was like flash,
Yeah.
flash, disappeared.
Here.
We're like, because at first we're like,
Go.
is that
Is it
a
an
plane?
airplane?
There's no red light. Oh, and it's gone. Oh,
Oh, yeah. That was funny.
that was fun. So that was pretty cool. So we're like looking at the stars, and at this point, like,
UFOs.
yeah, seeing some UFOs. Some guys are falling asleep. Couple snores. Larry
Larry and Todd.
and Todd, which is also a good sign because
When people fall asleep. Yeah.
Sasquatch are near. Mhm. But, at this point, it's starting to get chilly, and we've probably been out an hour already at this point. I don't know how long you
At
guys
least
stayed.
15 minutes.
At least 15 minutes.
Yeah. Probably longer. I think we were watching UFOs for at least
15, 20 minutes.
20 or 30. Anyway, so at some point, you guys are like, okay,
Time for us to go.
we're getting cold.
I think we had a good excuse.
Like you and me, who needed to leave.
Yeah, it was time for us to leave. We need to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people could have their,
The experience needed to be without us there. So
yeah.
I don't know why, but okay. I'm fine. 'cause I got a nice warm bed.
In hindsight, we know why now.
Yes.
Because we'll get to it.
Okay.
So after you guys leave, one of our things that we do when we go out in the wilderness and stuff is we hoot, like, and it's a good like skill in general because when you tell the forest you're arriving, and then also your friends can know where you are. So it's just a practical thing, right?
So what does your hoot sound like, honey?
well, right now,
Yeah. Don't blow out the mic. Just
not the mic.
blow it at the sky.
Yeah,
I'll
point that
turn around.
direction.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I think you gotta do it again because it didn't show up good.
Oh no, really?
Try it. Good.
Nice.
I tried to make it not too loud.
Yeah. Thank
You
you.
did. You only popped into the red a couple of times.
We don't want to blow out our audience's ears. So that hoot from Inelia, I've heard 1,000 times
Yeah,
at
that's her
least.
signature.
It's her signature hoot. She does it all the time when we go in the woods, like for the last.
Sasquatch, we're here.
Exactly.
Tell them we're leaving.
Yeah.
It's like a hi guys.
Mhm.
Something message follows.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So when they're walking, heading back, at that point, I was like,
Yeah, we just walked off like we were gone for a minute. Just
Yeah.
getting up to the road,
Maybe-
the trail.
maybe 100 feet. So I hooted, just to
What's your hoot? Yeah, she did that, and then you went.
Yes. And I knew it was Inelia because when they were like 100 feet away and just walked,
us,
it was like,
obvious.
yeah, obvious. Like less than a minute,
Yes.
less than 10 minutes, right? Yeah, the dogs. And then, so that was cool. And then, you know,
It took us like 3 days to walk back. It felt like 3 days to me.
really?
Well, yeah,
He started shaking because it was so cold.
And you had a late night the previous night.
Yeah,
so.
he
I was really tired, but I was like all my hood up and my other hood up and everything is like
And
tiny.
he was speaking,
and trying to go really fast.
Oh, yeah.
and I was like, kept trying to do it, and it didn't work for me.
oh, interesting.
Yeah. So he was getting colder and colder and colder, and he's like, "What's this taking so long? He never takes this long." It's like it's only been like 2 minutes.
For her, it wasn't very long. For me, it was.
Yeah.
Different
And I was so
realities.
cold, and you were freezing cold.
Yep.
Well, we got to our truck. We got a new truck.
Nice truck. So it's one of those trucks that like beeps when you back it up.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, where we were sitting, there was a
So big.
frog that goes.
Yeah.
It sounded like a beacon, you
Like
know,
a honing device
device. Yeah.
that might explode.
It did that for the whole time we're sitting there, and
It's the
it'd
weird.
stop every now and then, but it was pretty much consistent.
Yeah.
What you guys don't know maybe is when we got back to the truck,
It's
the whole way it was fine.
We heard it
got
on
to
our way
the
back
truck,
too. Yeah.
It started
to that beacon.
beep right next to the road where we were at.
Yeah.
And we thought it was a frog or I don't know, a bird. I mean, I don't know what.
Yeah, I was truthing it because at first I was like, is that a mechanical device?
It really sounds mechanical.
It
It really
does.
does.
And I truthed it, I gotta know. And then I also heard there was some slight variation because it kind of paused and then would pick back up. So it seemed organic. But it was the weirdest noise. I've never heard that in the forest before.
Never.
Yeah, we haven't either. Obviously, we don't spend tons of time in the forest at
Todd
midnight.
does, and he says he never
Todd
heard
does.
anything
He
like
never heard
that.
No.
Either way, when we put our truck in reverse, it makes the same noise. Beep, beep.
Much louder.
Much louder and consistent, though.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
So we backed up and then drove up the road to our house. And apparently, we're not so far away that you can't hear the truck.
Yeah, we heard the truck in the background, which was pretty cool because we're like,
We're a
oh,
long ways.
That's 2 miles.
yeah.
Miles away. I don't
Yeah.
get it how it gets all the way to you from there.
Well, when it's quiet and your senses are tuned in and you're expanding your
You have no
awareness.
idea how much you can hear, how big of a range of sound.
Yeah.
It could be a miles away and you can still hear it.
Yeah, miles away.
Easily, I could Google map it. I'll check the distance because I know where it is. I bet you it's easily 2 miles.
Yeah. Because when you guys were walking,
It's across the forest
it's across lots of trees.
and down a hill.
Yeah.
It's not like,
There's a lot of stuff
A
blocking
field.
it. Yeah.
anyway.
But we
here.
still heard the truck and we are like, oh, okay, yeah, they're back to their truck. That's cool.
And then we drove up the hill and I had to back up the park.
Yeah.
Heard me back
Heard
up the
that
park.
too.
And we heard, yes, and we heard the dogs
Dogs.
barking.
And the dogs are so happy that we're home.
Because I think it was before you guys got to the truck, we heard the dogs too. Because we're like, is that Sasquatch? Oh, no, that's tiny. Because we heard like,
Heard us walking. If you guys could hear the truck, he could hear us walking.
yeah.
Here they
Sure.
come. Somebody's walking on the trail.
Yeah, the dogs went off at one point, but then for sure when you went and got home because heard the truck and then like a minute later, which is the amount of time it takes to drive up, dogs doing their job, right? And I was like, oh great, they're back at their house. So while you guys were walking back, at some point, Todd, because I hooted, before and you responded. I think it was maybe 5 or 10 minutes later, Todd had said, Kara, next time you hoot, really put energy and intention behind it. And I'm like, dude, that's what I do. But okay. I was like, all right, roll up the sleeves.
Give it some.
So I was like putting my power into it. And I'm like, all right, Sasquatch, we're here. That kind of thing. Like, we're ready. And I went, wow, and like did like a really loud hoot. I like put all my oomph behind it. And the guys were like, whoa. That echoed really far, which it did. It was like echo, 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 echo. It was cool.
We didn't hear it.
Nope, I did not hear it.
Yes. So
Is that crazy?
that's just
I know,
crazy.
It's totally crazy.
So like maybe 10 seconds later, not even, I heard Inelia's hoot from the hill. Or so I thought, because it sounded exactly like the hoot you just heard on the podcast. Like to a T. I'm like, oh yeah, Inelia, she's hooting back. That's so cool. They can hear us from here. Cool, like,
Couldn't hear it.
and everyone's like, yeah, that's awesome. And then
It's awesome. They can hear us. They heard it back, which we would never do on an expedition.
What?
Hoot.
Put back?
yeah, to them if they hooted.
Because it could be confusing.
Oh,
right.
yeah, I wouldn't. No.
No, we're not
Yeah.
do that because I mean, that's just rude.
Yes.
It can be confusing, right? Which
Right? Was
clearly-
that a Sasquatch? Was that Inelia? Was that Larry? What's going on here?
Yeah, and so
But
and
the-
that's
yeah,
exactly
we
what
wouldn't do it.
happened. I thought it was Inelia, except it wasn't. I didn't find out till the next day when I was telling the story to Larry. He's like, "Yeah, Inelia didn't hoot
No.
at all
On purpose.
on purpose." Yeah, like
would confuse them.
exactly. And I'm like, "What?" So
You guys got a reply.
we got a reply. It was definitely a female Sasquatch because unless the men can sound that way, or the males, I highly doubt it. But like, I literally thought it was Inelia, and you know, you're like, you are the Sasquatch. Like, it's all connected, right?
Yeah.
But I thought it was her, and the way we think. And then I think about like 10 seconds after that hoot, and mind you, we're like in the middle of the forest, and I hear the hoot that direction. So think like to the right,
Where our house is.
where the house is, where we're standing, and then to my left, I hear another hoot. Actually, there were like 3.
Whoa.
There was one that came, and one of the guys was like, "Oh, that's an owl. It's an owl. It's not a hoot." And I'm like, I don't think that was an owl, but okay. A lot of people were like, "Oh, that was an owl. Yeah, yeah." And then another hoot, again, unmistakable, very similar to the other one we heard that sounded humanoid, not like a bird. Almost not quite the same as the Inelia sounding one, but very female, and also like the similar intonation of like, you know, to the far, far left. And then I think another owl hooted after that. So at this point, like one of the guys, he was a little skeptical. He's like, "Oh, it's just an owl.
It's owls and
An owl. Yeah, it's just an owl and Inelia." And then he heard the third one, or the one to the left, that was unmistakably like, no mistaking that was a Sasquatch hooting. And he was like, "Oh my God, that just happened. That's exactly what I wanted. This is the experience I wanted. Yes." He was so happy.
Thank you, Jesus.
Yes, he was so, he's like, "That's exactly the experience I wanted." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Now I know why we're in the gentle spot." Because,
That hoots.
That's good enough.
It hoots. It hoots. Yeah, that's pretty gentle.
yeah.
Plus, there was a boy there, like he's 16.
Yeah.
something.
And underage.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So that's,
like, they're not going to do anything to scare him.
no. In fact, he also, I think, was one of those, one of the people in the group who needed the gentle experience because, you know, he's 16, and even though he's there with a bunch of adults, the whole time he's like, "Oh my God, is this really happening? Oh my God, this is really happening. This is really happening." And it was really sweet, right? But I think back to like when I was 16, I'd probably be doing the same. Like, "Oh my God, is this really happening?"
It's just too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really way back in the woods, in the middle of the darn night.
Yeah.
And the pitch black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he did so well because he's like, "Oh, I'm like really nervous and excited, but you know." But he kept talking to them too. He's like,
He does talk to them.
yeah, he's like, "Hey guys, nice to meet you." You know,
I trained him well.
yeah, and he would tell him his name and stuff. There was one thing he said that was super funny. He said, "I'm here with my dad. Do you like your dad?" "I like my dad, but he's kind of an ass." It was quite funny, but it was really cool to see like him, you know, engaging. And you know, I told him like, "Hey, you know, the Sasquatch, especially with like men, you know, tend to trigger like the fear in the physical body, and it's not to like purposefully scare you. It's just like, you know, it's different than like with women or females, you know." And I felt like being there was important because, I don't know, men kind of act differently when a woman's around.
Mhm.
But also that female Sasquatch connection seemed key somehow. But Todd could also sense there was like a teenager Sasquatch and another strong male presence, and that they were, you know, bouncing off each other and stuff. And several of the other expeditioners could hear like stomping, you know, like shunk, shunk, shunk. And we brought that like listening device thing. What is it called?
I can't
It's a
remember.
little parabolic. with
Parabolic.
headphones.
It was like parabolic.
So think of it like, you know, one of those bad spy movies from the 60s where like
You're pointing at the
there's like a funnel on a gun and then you put it up to your ear and you listen kind of thing. It's like that, but way cooler. So you put on the headphones and then you can hear a lot of the sounds in the forest that you otherwise wouldn't be able to hear, which is pretty cool. I didn't have success with it, but some of the other guys did, and they were like hearing like, dun 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 in the forest, and like some knocks and like thuds, like stomps on the ground, and that was pretty cool. So again, like gentle and nice validation.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. That was excellent.
So it felt like it was a really nice orchestration to give people what they wanted, right?
Yeah.
Which they seemed to get, which was really cool. So, but for me, I was just absolutely blown away because I thought we had one really clear hoot that was unmistakably Sasquatch. And then the next day to find out
I never.
All of it was you. And then
exactly,
Yeah.
like, it wasn't Inelia, it was totally another Sasquatch. Responding and being playful, and then Todd also validated. He said they do that to him all the time. Like they know
mimic
him,
his noise.
they mimic his noises, and that's how they like kind of play and respond and stuff. So, and then Todd gave some good advice to me too. He said, when they hoot, they don't like to necessarily talk with their voices, right? That's like an invitation to mind speak with them.
Oh, it's a good point too, because they are often, quiet.
Yeah,
It's like they just broadcasted to the world, here I am.
yeah, exactly.
It's a pretty trusting thing for them.
It is. So I was connecting with them via experiential telepathy and just kind of doing like a hello, nice to meet you. I'm Kara. And I was expressing to them who I was and where I lived through like images and emotions and parts of the forest and the peninsula, trying to translate it to Sasquatch, and
Nice job.
yeah, it was cool. And I felt like I saw like the face of one of them. Like I like saw him and he saw me, and that was really cool. I didn't connect as much with the teenager, but our teenager definitely did, who was in the group, and that was cool. And then the females that we heard, like that just blew my mind. So it was just amazing. Very clear, undeniable, but also very gentle with what the group ordered, literally.
Can't imagine a more perfect evening.
Yeah, it really was. And then we walked back, and for me, the walking back took like 5 minutes. It was so fast.
I told you it was only 5 minutes.
Or 3 days, depending, But for whatever reason, it was very fast.
I'm glad you guys had a fast walk back.
Yes.
Yeah, Larry's looking weak.
But you gotta set yourself up for success, because like I was so warm in my blanket. I'm like, oh yeah, this is just fine. I
I
can
just
stay
had
out
a
here.
hoodie and a raincoat.
Yeah, no.
I wasn't quite dressed for it.
Yeah, you
I
gotta,
was dressed for 15 minutes.
yeah. And I did tell him, I'm like, okay, we're gonna go now. So if there's anything else you want to do,
Now's the
now's the
time.
time.
How did you find when you got to the pond area? Did you find it just as intense, or was there nothing there?
Let's see. On the way back, it still felt intense. Not as much.
Not as much as when we walked through the.
Yeah, not as intense as the first time. But then I was kind of like, maybe it's intense for a different reason. Like, I don't know, troll under the bridge or something. No, I'm teasing. But it was like, I was like trying to see how much of it was just because it got darker and more spooky, but it wasn't as intense. So I think they were still kind of there, but not, it wasn't
Probably
like,
had to climatize to them also, right?
yeah.
Because after exposure, the fear wave, when it's dealt with, it kind of like passes.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
And
What
that
we found is like when we walked back, there was nobody.
nobody was
because
there. They were
everybody
all with
stayed
you.
Everyone stayed down with you.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think some of them were following us for a little while longer too.
I pretty much guarantee it. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the pond, I always love it. I have a sign there for them, a glyph, and I have a thing, and I have a treat, and presents and stuff, and I check it every day.
Nice.
when I walk the dogs, and I've only had an answer one time. They didn't take anything, but they left a nice print, and they rearranged
The
the
stick.
glyph.
Oh, nice.
There was a giant print right in the middle of it.
Perfect.
Rearranged the sticks. Like, wow,
That's
finally.
cool.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
That's cool.
So yeah,
Yeah, we heard that beeping frog, squirrel, whatever
Okay.
bird thing. One when we were there at the beginning, and then it went quiet.
Yep.
And when it went quiet, I'm like, oh, they're getting close, because the
Right.
forest gets quiet when Sasquatch are around.
right.
And then it came back, and then I was like, okay, time to go, kind of thing. And then it was quiet, no bird, weird, chirpy beeper thing. And then by the time we got back to the gate, we heard it again.
Yeah, that's what we heard.
So it was very weird. I have no idea what creature that was, but
Creatures do that noise.
me neither.
I mean, yeah.
It was bizarre. But I was like, oh, that's cool. So he's heard it again. And, so you can even use like the forest to kind of help gauge where things are at with the Sasquatch. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, overall, it was a very fun experience. And, sometimes it's good to go with what the vibe of the group is feeling, which,
Right.
in that case, it wasn't about me. I wanted to go for creepy, scary, dark woods by the pond. And I'm like,
else is
let's go to the pond. Everyone's
No.
like crickets.
not into it.
I'm like,
It's like hard enough to get them to walk by the pond, let alone sit at the pond.
that's true.
And that pond is set up pretty much ideal for an encounter, like
Yeah.
some face-to-face encounter place. That
Yeah.
would be one.
Yeah, but it wasn't about me. It was about those guys getting what they needed, because it's also like kind of at the end of the trip at this point.
Right.
And one of the expeditioners was like, that was the sign. That was the experience I wanted.
Yeah.
And he got it, which was super cool. And then, of course, having a child there too, it's like, the Sasquatch aren't going to be terrifying children. They're not going to, it's not their style. So it was very loving, gentle, lots of UFOs, lots of hoots. It was a great time. So I think we got back around 2 a.m., something like that, maybe 1 a.m. Can't remember.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
So
Brilliant.
there was something that you could, like a parting words for their audience. What would it be around this topic?
I think one,
Because remember, a lot of our audience are like in places where they don't even think they have a Sasquatch.
yeah.
It's like, what is this? What does this have to do with anything?
Yeah. So I think it's about when you get together as a group, it's a lot easier and more fun, and it feels better. Like, the only reason I was trucking ahead was because I had everyone else with me, I wasn't going to do that on my own.
Totally, huh?
Like, not going to happen.
Not happening.
And it's more fun because you have different perspectives. Because if it was just me, and then I heard everyone else's perspective, like, no, that was an owl, or, oh yeah, I heard a stomp over there. Like, I didn't hear a stomp. So it's like literal more perspectives. You see more with more people.
More awarenesses.
More awarenesses.
Right.
So that's really cool. But if you're like in the middle of a city and you don't think there's Sasquatch in your area, I would say it doesn't matter. You can still like work on these things and expand your awareness in whatever environment you're in.
But go to the forest every now and then, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
At least
Realistic.
one week a year.
New York. I don't think you're going to find Sasquatch in New York.
No.
Well, in New York
But-
City, maybe
No, not the city.
Not in the city.
but in New York,
State.
outside the city.
Yes,
I think-
definitely.
Oh yeah.
There's pretty a lot of woods there.
guarantee.
Yeah, I think the Sasquatch show up in a lot more areas than people think.
Right.
In fact, we had a friend sharing some photos of where she is in France, and I was like, that looks very Sasquatchy to me.
Yes.
Like, yeah, that definitely seems like a sign. So it's something that you can, play with your friends. And worst case scenario, you have a lovely walk in the woods with your friends. So it seems like a win-win to me.
Yeah.
But doing it together with people who you really trust, who want to be there, I think is really important. Because if you drag someone there who doesn't want to be there,
Forget it.
it's just not going to be good for
It
anyone.
will be a 5-minute walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It won't be a nice experience.
Right.
So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kara.
Thank you guys for having me. This was fun.
Yep, it was a great time.
Cool. Till next time. Bye.
So we
So,
have Ashley.
Ashley's turn.
Ashley's turn.
Hi, everybody.
And Ashley's also been participating in the Sasquatch expedition with Todd.
Yeah.
And we can't wait to hear the actual experience that both of you had by the lake.
Yes.
You and Paul,
And
the two of
Paul.
you.
Yep.
Can you start off so that Ash can tell her story?
So this experience was, I think, one that I've had in my mind of something that I wanted to do
Uh-huh.
ever since Todd showed up.
Okay.
Right? I wanted to paddle canoes or kayaks or paddle boards or boat or whatever into the lake in the evening and set up a campsite on a spot that Ash and Kara and Fred and I found that had a little campfire place and wood spot and some benches and it's just secluded in the middle of nowhere,
Yes.
and you can only get there by boat. You can't walk there.
Oh, kayak.
Boat. You can't walk there.
Kayak, I said.
Yeah, kayak is a boat, honey.
Oh, it is? I didn't know that.
Okay.
That's how much I know about these things.
So it's like the perfect adventure all wrapped up.
Mhm.
You know, it includes boats and fires and lakeside and wilderness and a little bit of like you can't like go away. You're trapped. You're not trapped there, but you're there. You know, when you get there, you're pretty well committed.
Yes.
And it's in this little like Shangri-La spot. You know, it's a giant old cedars, and it's in a location where in a previous year we had an experience with I guess a shaman type Sasquatch. She's like a part Sasquatch and part human. Is that how you would describe her?
Yes.
She got a little bit of human in her,
Mm-hmm.
like hybrid type. Anyway, I have a picture of her, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
We went one year and we sat in the woods in a place about a mile from this spot, but on the same little peninsula. And when we sat there, I had gotten a communication from her, first of all, to go there. And it was like another one of these evening walks. And we walked out there in the evening, it's still light out. And
Oh, this is not the one with
this
the
is not the
boats.
same, but this
Okay.
is the same place.
Different.
Okay, got
It
it.
was a year before.
Uh-huh.
Same general area, the year before that we walked to. And we ended up about a mile away from that place where you take the boat. Thought I just saw them go there. Anyway,
You saw one night.
yeah, I just
Shimmer.
saw. Yes. Yeah, they're listening, so I guess they want to hear the story too.
Maybe we'll get some shimmer in the
I
background.
get some shimmer in it. Yeah. And so we walked out there in the evening, then it started to get dark, and then we're like way back there, you know, because it's still a long walk.
Yeah.
And I remember saying, because we got to like take a left here, take a right here. And like, Todd, have you been keeping track of where we're at? Because I'm not sure I can find a way back if it gets dark.
He's like, how dare you ask
What do you
me that?"
mean? Of course I can find the way back. Are you kidding me? It's like, phew. Okay, so responsibility on your back. Thank you.
Yeah.
Larry got told in that moment for sure.
Let's go.
We're good.
Carry on.
Yeah.
So we got to the end of the road, and then now we're not even on roads. We just trail, bushwhacking in. We're back another 5-10 minutes over some creeks and valleys and things, and we're all sitting spread out. And after, I don't know, half hour or 15 minutes of sitting in the quiet, just connecting with the space, I got a communication in my head that the shaman lady was willing to come up and sit next to me.
Mm-hmm.
And she wanted to know if I'd be comfortable with that. And, you know, my first response was, of course, yes, definitely. Come on up.
So what's the
So
experience
she said, huh?
image that she
So she said, when I say she said, it's the image came, she said, how about if I was an 800-pound grizzly bear and I came and laid down next to you right now? How would you feel? And I looked and I thought about it for about a 1 millisecond, like, well, I might not actually be comfortable if an 800-pound grizzly bear laid down next to me right now. You're right. I might not quite be ready. So she laughed. It was a giggle feel. She said, just take a picture then.
Yeah.
So I got my phone, and it's dark, but iPhones take pretty good night pictures now.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. So I took a picture. I didn't see anything obvious in it, but till when I got home. When I got home and I looked, there she is right in the middle looking at me.
Yeah, it's a face.
A face,
Yeah.
female Sasquatch face. You could just tell.
Mhm.
But it wasn't like the full Sasquatch face either. It was like part human.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this year I really wanted to, it's like somehow can we please, canoe out there and just stay out there
Uh-huh.
because she'll meet us there.
Uh-huh.
Plus we have a canoe adventure. And we made it to, I think it was Friday or Thursday or some part. It's like, I had in my head that the guys were all leaving at 2:00 in the morning. And tonight we had paella
Yeah.
and all these other things. I'm like, we're never going to do it, are we?
And I said, actually, they don't leave tonight. They leave tomorrow night. What?
Really?
We have a whole day.
We're doing it tomorrow. So I told them all, I was like, we're canoeing. We're going to the middle of the lake. Yeah. So,
So a part of the experience that I don't know if you know about this part. In the morning, when we were deciding what to do, I said, I don't know where you're going, but you need these 2 towels. And I had them ready
Oh,
on
yeah.
the thing. So you grabbed the towels and he said, and then he came by and says, we should do the lake part, where the campsite is like.
the camp and build a fire.
Yeah. And I said, that's, yes. And they want you to take my kayak and you have to be on the kayak, right?
Yes.
You take my kayak and use that and take the 2 towels.
Yeah.
And he said, sure, I'll do that.
Sure, I'll do that.
He didn't though. He
Yeah.
didn't do it.
So what happened was I told the guys, I said, we're going to canoe out to the lake, we're build a fire, and our Sasquatch there is going to meet us, and we can have a great experience. And they were like, yes, let's do it. This is going to be great. And it was such a relief because I swear they were leaving that night, and they didn't. So I told Fred and Kara and Ash and everybody. Ash has her own kayak. And Fred and Kara has our canoe, and Fred has another canoe. And nobody really knows who's going and how many that is and how many seats it takes up and, you know, those kind of things. Because even though we count them, we kind of like lose track halfway through. But
And
at some
Paul
point, we
had his own kayak. Right?
yeah, Paul, one of the expeditioners, had a kayak on his roof. Right. So we kind of guessed on how many seats we had left and if we had enough. And we just took what we had. And I come up to the house to say hi and pick up. I don't remember what I had to pick up, but I remember backing in thinking, there's Inelia's kayak. I don't know if I want to go to the trouble. I think I got enough. We got enough seats. I don't know if I want to go into the trouble of bringing that down to the lake, like a whole, like, what, 10 minutes?
Yes.
I don't know. It seems like too much trouble. So I just went to the lake, and there were not enough seats, but I could ride in the middle of one of the canoes. So that kind of made it, I'd just be cargo, which at first I thought was kind of cool.
And then you didn't
And
like
then
it so much.
It wasn't so great being totally out of control of your everything. You're just in the middle of the boat cargo.
It doesn't sound like you at all.
It was,
No, not at all.
Captain Larry in a boat.
it was like
It's cargo.
I didn't have any control of the rudder. I didn't
Yeah.
have any control of the throttle. I had no control of our direction,
Nothing.
stability,
Yeah.
nothing. It was just,
Sitting there.
we're going over here like, why are we going over? I don't know.
Yeah.
Can you guys get your paddling together? They're brothers.
Yeah. Huh?
And the one brother has like tons and tons of canoe experience, and the one that has a little bit less. But the one that has a little bit less is the older brother.
So he tells
So the younger brother can't tell the older brother what to do, and the older brother can tell the younger brother what to do, but the younger brother knows better what to do. So, you know, you could imagine how wiggling wobbly we went. It was quite fun.
It was like dodging them.
Oh my God.
Like there's, I was like, I either need to get in front of them or I'm going to stay behind and give some distance. Because next thing you know, they're like right in your path
It was so-
or headed towards
it
you.
was hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we got to the end of our paddle. I say it's 15 minutes. What
What
is
do
it
you think it
actually?
was?
I don't know how long it actually
The
is.
paddle? Maybe 20 minutes. It wasn't that
So
long.
I wasn't too far off.
Yeah.
Because the 15-minute walks sometimes is an hour or 3. And a 15-minute paddle,
It didn't take that long. It's a short distance.
yeah. But it's long. 20 minutes is still long.
Yeah.
paddling.
Yeah.
It's short but long. So we get to this.
And the drive was much longer.
Yeah, the drive's an hour or half an hour.
An hour in this circumstance.
So we get there. I have brought supplies. I have the towels. I have these 2 towels with me.
You don't
I think they might be seat cushions for the log. I don't know. I start to fire up. It's going rip-roaring, and Todd says, "Don't look in the fire."
We have my giant.
Just giant fire. We're all looking at the fire. It's like, oops. There were three who ended up being looking in the fire was what they were there for.
Okay.
And Todd was off sitting by a tree in the darkness, and Paul and you, or no one of you went off with another guy.
Matt and I.
Matt and I. And I stayed and got the fire tent and built like a big pile of wood. And we all got sort of like comfortable in our spot, and it was majestic. It was indescribably perfect, you know? It's like dark, but not black. You can see stars through the trees. You got fire flickering on the trees, and these trees are 1,000-year-old cedar trees. It's not cold. Like this whole week, it's been
Remarkably
pretty
not
cold. Right now, it's pretty kind of cold out.
Right.
And then the last few nights, it's been like in the 30s or 40. It was like freezing, breath smoke. But this night, perfect. And then there wasn't like any noises. It's like we're having a nice paddle. It was a pretty nice campfire, but there's no like Sasquatchies, no feelings, no. It's kind of like no nothings, you know. I remember Paul, the one with his own kayak. He went out to go meet his Sasquatch because the message we had was that his Sasquatch was ready to meet him here. We just need to come here. So we went to go meet his Sasquatch in the middle of the lake in a kayak.
did bring a kayak, so
Yeah.
it was his experience.
Yes. I'm not saying you'll never meet a Sasquatch in the middle of the lake,
Mhm.
but I haven't seen any kayaking by yet.
We did see one swimming during the day.
Yes, if
I imagine they're really good swimmers.
They are very good swimmers.
okay, I'm not saying it's impossible.
Although if I were in my kayak meeting a Sasquatch or on land, I think I'd rather be on land meeting a Sasquatch than have it swimming underneath me in a kayak.
It's like that's just too many things.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, he was out there for a good hour listening to the lake. I mean, he was in heaven too.
He was.
Mhm.
Right? My heaven was the fire and the trees and the stars and and his heaven was the lake, the silence, and the water was absolutely still, and it's just you're in, I don't know, heaven.
Okay, so we're here to interview Ashley.
Well, I'm setting the scene.
Yes, you're setting the scene great. The scene is set.
Okay.
What happened, Ash?
Well, I'm going to backtrack just a little bit to
Okay.
start with.
I have a segue point first.
Okay.
Sorry.
Almost.
Yeah. It's okay. It's not really about me.
It is actually. But...
It's all about you. But this particular segue will be perfect.
Okay, go
Because-
for it.
What I was saying was there wasn't a whole lot of Sasquatch sign or anything. We're not really feeling anything. It didn't feel like there was like mile over there, mile over there. There was nothing really, really close. And then Paul came back from his lake and we're all around the fire. And it's kind of like discordant energy entering. It's like, this isn't what I wanted. And I wanted quiet. And this is nice fire, but are we supposed to be finding Sasquatch and things like that? So I walked over to a tree. It was like, maybe across the creek far.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I got to the tree, my eyes got big, the hair on the back of my head stuck up. And I ran back to the fire and I said, if you guys want Sasquatch, it's right there. Right by the tree.
They're here.
They're here. Okay, Ash. Because now I'm back to the fire. Now's when Ashley showed up.
Yeah. So at that point, I'll just continue on with this. I can
Okay.
share the other bit later. So at that point, I see Larry coming out from the woods and
Running
like,
with my hair on
really-
fire.
Yeah, like eyes bulging, freaked out, and I was like, oh, Sasquatch are here. So I like get up, and I had already been feeling them there in their presence, and I had like felt psychically like there was 3 of them is what I was getting nearby that were like 2 males and a female, I think is what I had told you.
Yeah. I remember.
And then, so I get up and I'm like, yeah, great. We're all here to see Sasquatch, right? And so I head out in the woods.
Looks for the woods.
And then I like look around and no one's there with me. I'm alone. And I look back and Todd's like, are you going to make Ashley go by herself? Like to all the guys. Because there's like, what, 4 guys?
5.
Five
Yeah,
guys.
5 men.
At the
I'm
fire.
Todd, yeah, standing at the fire. And then
And I just told him Sasquatch is over there.
yeah.
And they're on a Sasquatch
And we're
expedition.
on a Sasquatch expedition. I mean, if
Oh my
we're going
god.
at least that's what I thought.
Ash is the only one running
But, you
for the
know,
Sasquatch.
Yeah, but it's everyone's here for a different level of Sasquatch experience. That's for sure.
Oh, man.
So then I look back to, I hear this being said and I realize I'm alone and I'm like, yeah, don't make me go alone. Come on. So then Paul steps up.
Yep.
And I don't know what Todd said to him exactly, but Todd said something and he's like, oh yeah, okay, I can't let her go alone. So he like got up and came with reluctantly, but he was with me there. So we walked down and we're kind of in this like kind of boggy kind of
Well, it was
area. It's a
it
little
was
muddy.
pitch freaky black, and there's branches like you see everywhere. You have to put
We're
your hands, and you
in
have
the
to
middle of it.
you're walking through the bushes and the brush. You can't see where your feet go or your face goes, but there's everywhere.
You can see like silhouettes of things because out by the water there's a reflection of the moon, and so like you kind of get a little bit of that. But you're trying to also not look back at the fire where people are moving and their flashlights and things like that because that messes up your night vision. And
Right.
so we're out there, and Paul and I are there for just a little while, feeling into it, feeling what's there. Also, like getting into my core because, like, the body, then you feel them around,
Yeah.
so your body's like, you know.
Are you crazy?
So that first little bit was like, I don't actually remember a lot of it because there was like I think a lot of adrenaline and things like that involved. And then Larry and Todd show up. And they kind of stayed behind us at first, right?
I stayed up on a little bluff, and you guys were down in the, I don't
Whatever
know,
we were
whatever that was.
Yeah.
Bog and I don't know.
I mean, it was dry. It was
It's
just
dry,
muddy,
but mud,
kinda.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you guys are a good distance away from us down the hill.
Yeah. And then we start we're like tuning in, we're calling out, we're doing different things like that. And then eventually Larry meets us, and Todd stays up at a distance. He's just watching us, just like so quiet. You probably barely even know he was there.
Yep.
But he's holding space. And for us, we were like laughing because it's like, okay, good. Dad's here. Dad's here. We're okay. We're safe now. You know? And so like, there's that level of feeling secure because of it. Yeah. And which is like, you know, that's the beauty of going on expedition with somebody who's quite advanced.
Right?
Yes. Yeah. So then I keep looking back at this massive tree. It's this massive cedar, probably one of the bigger ones I've ever seen out here. And I keep looking at it. I'm like, we should go to that tree. We should go to that tree. And then Larry's like, hey, like slowly, somehow we make our way up to like a branch of that tree.
Like the stick, you know?
Yeah, they're like these guys, you know, not that big. Okay. And so it's a low one. So it comes right across like our midsection. Mm-hmm. And it feels like it's a shield, you know, it feels like a safety blanket, safe maybe now. Is a better way to put it. So we're like holding on to the branch. Yeah. So we're like, oh, okay.
Now
cool.
Now we can meet you.
Safety blankie. Yeah. There's not just like the abyss of darkness in front of us. And as we're standing there and we're looking up and it's up, there's like a ridge, like the land goes up right in front of us. And a little
50
ways
to 100 feet. It's like it's quite a big bluff incline. Yeah.
And so we're looking at that, and your eyes are getting adjusted. We were out there at least 20, 30 minutes at that point, right?
Yeah, easy.
And so now we can really see in the dark, and you can start to make things out, and we're like really watching things and starting to see like movement. There's things that are like going kind of fuzzy, like lights, sparklies, things like that. Like I keep thinking back now, if we'd only been recorded, you know, people would be seeing us like, you know, and like, oh, do you see sparkles? I see sparkles. You know what I mean? It would just been awesome to see that. So then like Larry at one point was seeing where it was getting that shimmery kind of Predator, like the movie, like the cloaked. That cloaking happening.
Cloaked,
and so he's like, so look, my hand is getting shimmery. So I shift over to where he is, and I start following my hand with his hand. And I'm like, wait, I see it too. You know, and they're like looking at the same thing.
Like our hand was going inside the cloaking.
Yeah.
And it would just start to dematerialize. It become like hollow with lights in it.
Yeah. And then like I would put my hand forward and I could feel like it getting warm. Wow. And I was like, whoa.
The body there.
Okay. Yeah, something like that.
How much closer are we going to go? That's good.
Further. We did this for probably a good like half hour, just kind of playing around, and everyone's got their own experience.
There was multiple ones of it, like that came, and then they'd go away, and then they'd come back, and then it'd get intense again, and then you could put your hand in there again, and then you could feel them again, and then they'd go away. It was like more than one of them.
But there was definitely like a buzz of kind of nervousness happening, I think.
Yeah,
and then
it was definitely high.
Right? Like our excitement in a way, like
it was juvenile feeling. You know, it was like playing, giggling, playing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, look at that, ooh, look at that, ooh, like, yeah, like rambunctiousness.
Yeah. So then all of a sudden, go ahead.
Did the plunks come yet?
Not yet. Because all of a sudden, then the energy changed, and it
dramatically,
was black, and we couldn't see anything.
Where we were looking, we could see the tree, you could see stars, all that stuff. All of a sudden, it's just
black, and it was like black. Like, I mean, the three of us, you know, grown adults standing in a row, so probably about like this distance. We might have been a little bit closer to one another, but like bigger than that, wide, you know. And then we're all looking up like this, like into this blackness.
Dark all of a sudden.
And then the energy totally had shifted. That like kind of excitement, nervousness, all of that, like that juvenile kind of energy, like just it was gone, and it was like grounded.
Wow.
And Paul says, my father is here, and he says it with this like energy that I'm like,
I said that.
What?
He just said that.
Yeah, it was kind of like that. I'm like,
father,
that was a really weird statement. Like, and then like, but feeling into
I don't think you're part Sasquatch. Your dad's not.
He doesn't look part Sasquatch.
No, he doesn't have the traits. And so then I start feeling into it, and I'm like, oh, It's the Sasquatch father.
Sasquatch.
Their father, the ones we were with.
Their father
Their
here.
father is here. Which also made sense because we were like kind of, we were all sharing what we're experiencing, which helped us to kind of piece things together. And this black that we saw, this darkness, you know, and how big it was, how wide it was, it was him. And he was pretty close, but we couldn't see past him.
Couldn't see through him. Yeah, he wasn't like he was cloaked. He was.
Yeah.
Right.
He was there.
So we were just doing everything we could to like get in our core, you know, like stay in our core.
Thank you for the core training.
Yes, thank
Get
you
in your
so
car,
much.
Ashley, get into your
So like
car,
we were ready
Ashley.
to get reactivity and yeah, we were ready to run. And then it was like, nope, okay,
get in our
we're
core.
in our core and we're doing little tricks like holding onto that branch. We got pine cones in our hands because somehow
Some noise,
rubbing the pine cones like felt better to our body. Like it was like giving us a way to
Yeah, the body's.
pass that nervous energy. Yeah.
And then what happened?
So then, yeah, we're same thing. We're kind of like feeling, you know, and then all of a sudden Paul's like, my hand disappeared. You know,
And
my hand
literally disappeared
Into that black spot.
into the black
It
spot.
became nothing, and he couldn't see it anywhere, no matter how far close from his face. It was just gone.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
And it was warm. Yeah, there was that warmth again. And then we start hearing this like kind of plunk noise, like plunking, like, yeah, Todd can do it really well.
Yeah, you can.
And it's just like plop, like as if something were dropping into water, but like just, it's like,
But it's like cartoon version of it.
It is like a cartoon.
It's like what you expect to hear in a cartoon when a drop of something goes into the water. It's a boom,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
And it's loud.
it's loud, and it was right
And it
there.
carries.
Fine, so we turned around to
There was like, it happened several times and we're like, how is that happening? What is that? Like, it was muddy, but that wasn't like water. Like,
right.
we're trying to figure out, we're not close enough to the lake that we would really hear that in the lake. And so, you know, we're observing all these things and
Well,
taking
there's a
note,
giant
and it felt
black
like
thing
it
at our
was at our face at that point.
because we had turned around. It was like kind of
Okay.
got overwhelmed a little bit with
Yes.
the father energy. We turned around back to the plunking noise, which was the children, and it was like a little bit better
Yeah.
for me anyway.
Yeah. So we turned around. Larry's like, hey, we should turn around. Like, let's try this. So he turned around and he goes backwards, like walking
Walk
backwards
back
into
the
that
father.
darkness. And we're like, okay.
Sounds
You
good.
know? And so we did. And it was like, oh, this feels so much better. Yeah, this is better. Rather than being like, it's in front of me and it's so massive.
It's
and
just
so
so
dark.
big. It's just overwhelming.
It's too much. Yeah. So it was like a really good way to like calm our bodies
Mhm.
and signal that calming. And then also it felt like there was this communication that came through then to the Sasquatch, like that particular father Sasquatch, if you will, where now we trust him. And we're like, there was no point where it was like, oh my God, they're going to kill us. Like I never felt that at all. But there is like, oh my God, like your body wants to run, how I would respond to, you know, even if I saw a slug, right? I don't think the slug's going to kill me, but I'm like, okay, I'm leaving it. Or mice
Yeah,
or something, right?
Yes.
It's that kind of thing. And so, yeah, turning around, it like communicated that we trust you and kind of like,
Turned down our whatever reaction.
Yeah.
So we had an ability to make a much more solid connection, I thought.
totally. So then we were able to like really connect, and it was just this beautiful energy that we were in. And there was still that like plunking happening here and there. And then at a certain point, it just kind of got to be like, okay, I'm tired. You know, like,
Go home.
yeah.
I have to work at 7 a.m. and it's 1 o'clock. We have a half an hour paddling, and we got to put canoes on the roofs, and we got to drive for an hour.
I wasn't so worried about it. I was like, oh, we'll figure it out. But it was a good excuse to like go.
Yeah.
We were kind of done.
Yeah. So we decided to leave.
Yeah, we went back to the fire, and we told Todd about the plunking noises, and then he said,
Like this.
"Did it sound like this?"
Yes. And he did it exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And where did he say those noises came from?
He said Sasquatch do that. That's part of like one of the noises that they use to communicate.
Wow.
So that was really cool to have that validated. Yeah.
Instant validation of that.
Yes. And then we saw, Larry showed me his phone, and he had text message, I think from you, saying that you were detecting there were like 3 young ones nearby, like 2 males and a female. And
No, I said there's 3 adults, 2 males, 1 female, and
Oh,
about
okay.
4 or more children. And then there's more people further away.
Okay.
That's what I said.
But the 3 with the 2 males and 1 female, I got those. So that was cool to like
That was
have
good
that
validation.
Mhm.
Yeah. But then when we started sharing it with everybody, that also kind of helped us to like all the things that we had in the moment. It's like you're just responding to what's happening.
Right.
But when you kind of piece it all together, you're like, wait,
Right.
wow.
That makes
was
sense.
like
The experience that we were having.
exactly.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And earlier in the trip, Todd had asked me, we were on like our first day of going out, and he said, what's your intent? Like, what are you looking for? And I said, I'm here just to, support the experience. So the experiencers who are with him can experience something. He's like, oh, what? What about you? Yeah. I was like, well, I guess at this point, face to face, like I've never had a face to face encounter, like actually, and face on. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess I had that. But, one thing he had said later was he's like, you don't expect them just to come up and like sit next to you and like, kind of how you were saying, how would you feel about an 800-pound bear, grizzly bear sitting next to you,
Right.
He's like, they're gonna work their way up to that.
Mhm.
So it was face to face in a way that we could do face to face, which felt nice.
Yeah, playing with their cloak.
Right.
Right. You're face to face, but it's not overwhelmed for us.
Yeah, like a cloak semi.
And we're brave enough
Feeling their energy. It was like that was enough. Feeling their presence and the warmth.
Yeah.
to feel their warmth, their presence, the energy of them without the physical overwhelm.
Yeah.
Earlier, you said you wanted to talk about something while you were paddling towards the area. You said.
Oh, that was just the intention part. Just
the intention part.
And so
Okay.
that came full circle.
Okay,
That's what
perfect.
happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
I was just say, so we were back at the fire and we started packing up.
Yeah. So we're back in the fire. We start packing up. and
Everybody's ready.
we're ready to go. And it's dark and it's starting to get cold and all the things. And I'm like, yeah, I do have to work in the morning. So that does matter, And so
We had a Smokey the Bear moment with the fire. We're like, put it all out, or no, it's fine. It's in its rocks.
like, just kind of like,
Yeah. We kind of left it. And usually we don't, but this time
scraped
we're
it
like,
around a little.
It's safe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was safe.
Yeah.
And so then we all get loaded up. Everyone gets going into their respective boats. I was in a kayak.
kayakers off. Todd and his son are off, and me and the Billy brothers are the last to go.
Yeah.
And I got into the canoe, in the middle. I pushed it out a little bit, so we got off of the bank. And we're like, I don't know, 2 feet of water.
You're right.
It's really not much. It's like you have to like use your
Really
paddle to get yourself
yourself
through the shallowness of it.
They're there, and I'm sitting in the middle. And we're trying to back off the beach. Everybody's got their back turned. And then the canoe just went like this. It went like tilted a little bit. And we kind of shifted a little bit. And then it just went all the freaking way over, and then it started filling up with water. And then I'm in a canoe under the water in 2 feet. I mean, it's 2 feet deep. I could stand up. I couldn't stand up. I was soaked from hat to toes. My boat's all the way full in 2 feet of water.
I was like,
Why didn't you just stand up?
I couldn't stand up. We were paralyzed.
I was just a few feet in front of them, and I
Watching from the kayak.
hear it, but it's like something's kind of happening, but I've heard people fall over in water, and that's not at all.
Splashy.
Yeah, and there's like
That's
resistance.
intense.
There's like some type of fight, like it starts. You hear like the boat and people
Scrambling.
trying to like get the balance going. None of that happened. It was just like a little bit of rustling, and then all of a sudden, then I hear like water moving, and I'm like,
Guys,
look back, and
Guys,
the guys are all just like
laying in the water.
laying like this and like doing nothing.
Flat in the water.
Laying like this in the water, and I'm like,
What are you doing?
I even thought, like, my first thought was like, are they? Well, no, I thought just they want to go swimming, like, because it wasn't as if like it wasn't like we like fell because fall,
It was not
but
cool.
it was not. And then all of a sudden, Larry shoots up, and I think Matt shoots up, and they get out of the water, and then Dan shoots up, but Dan's kind of like a little
In
bewildered,
his waist.
and like,
He's a
but
little
he's also
bewildered.
trying to grab something.
Dude, all our
But
stuff's
everybody's
floating
kind
away.
of moving, and he's still moving in slow motion.
Luxury.
Like he's not full on yet. And I'm like, okay.
Swimming? Why, guys? It's the wrong time for that.
And Larry gets in, like, starts, coasty Larry starts turning on and
like,
okay, well,
thinking-
we need to get back to the fire. We got to drive it off before we go forward, or we're going to get too cold. And so then it's just like,
Quite
okay,
dangerous if you get
recovery mode. Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause look at the
Everybody
lake
turns on.
and like 30, 40 degrees ish, 45. It's kind of shocking cold. They're not icebergs, but it's cold. But if you have a half hour of paddling soaking wet clothes in the middle of the night,
You'll get.
we could get into hypothermia. Then
Yeah.
those guys, they're mostly living in the city.
Mhm.
What's their tolerance for this cold? We don't know. Paul's not wet, but the two of us and me, I was like shivering instantly,
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we got to light the fire and get dried off. It's just, we can't make it if we don't.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we didn't put the fire out.
Oh,
It was like,
but everyone sprang into
Sprang into
action.
action.
And Todd and his son got back. Like, I called out to them because they're all just waiting for us. Like, hey, the guys fell over. You gotta get back. And so then they all like rushed to get the fire going, and everyone started.
branches, and we got our clothes off. And immediately we were soaked.
Yeah.
We were really wringing the clothes out.
Yeah, I would like hold one side and Larry's wringing the other, and like
Just like
the guys were practically like burning
naked
clothes, trying to
underwear, and then
like,
putting their clothes over in a fire and
dry.
steaming everything.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like, golly.
now you knew why you had to take my kayak and 2 towels.
Yes, I.
You only listen.
If I had listened, we
It's
would have
true.
2
It
towels
makes
for the 2
sense
wet
now.
guys, and I wouldn't be wet, and I have dry
Exactly.
towels for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Now you know.
I messed that part up
Yes, just a little bit.
because apparently those Sasquatch teenagers had a plan in mind to
did.
get us to stay a little longer,
Yes.
Yes.
which worked
Yes.
Yes.
perfectly.
Yes.
Well, and then we didn't get that yet. At that
No.
point, we were just like, I mean, it's
We were just
freaking
like,
2 a.m.
It's got
now.
to be his fault. And he
We're just
said,
trying
it's my
to-
brother's fault. I'm thinking, I must have leaned over or something. It's like my fault. We're all blaming ourselves. But
Right.
And everyone's just trying to get dry and then also get home and, stay safe. And so we're just kind of getting through all that. But then the next day,
yeah,
I think it was Larry said something along the lines of
and
like,
I had told.
when he told you the story that night when he got home.
I laughed so much.
Yeah.
Because if it listened,
Yeah.
you would have going, da-da-da, look
Yeah.
out.
And I think you said something to the effect of like, oh, they weren't done.
They weren't done.
They weren't done with you guys yet.
No,
Done watching
no,
us.
we didn't know.
Yeah. And when he said that, I was like,
The young ones.
It makes perfect
course.
sense.
it makes sense why the boat tipped the way it did because
It
it's just
was
ever
them.
so
They
gently
did,
tipped, right?
They didn't want
Wouldn't
to
you
hurt
say?
anyone.
It
and
was
then
gentle,
they
steady,
were
impossible to
paralyzed.
stop.
And there was nowhere they could drown. Like these men could not
exactly.
drown in this water. It was not
Pretty
that deep. Like
But we also couldn't stand up.
they were just like,
Because they were keeping you there.
It's like laying here, and I kept getting deeper and deeper in the water, laying there, going, "Why am I not getting up? it's not good."
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
One point.
I just laughed and thought, oh, no, that was a cute Sasquatch.
Kid
They
Yeah.
done
were
with
messing
it.
with you, yeah.
Yeah, it totally
They
was.
wanted to entertain themselves.
yes.
So one little exclamation point on that. Paul was out there in his kayak waiting for all of us children to get in our canoes and go home,
Yeah.
because he's older than the rest of us, and he's just like, "Time to go, guys. Let's go.
Right.
Let's go." And he's like, he's out there in his kayak, and he said, "I heard a cow, and it was laughing. Do you guys have cows here?"
That laugh.
And
Todd
Todd's like,
said,
no, that's a Sasquatch laughing.
"No." And Todd said, "Do you have moose?" I
Oh,
said,
that's-
"It couldn't be a moose. They make that noise." I said,
We
"Yeah,
don't
we don't have
moose
moose here." He's like, "That was a Sasquatch laughing."
yeah.
And he said, "Yeah, because when I heard it, I got really scared. When I heard a laughing cow, I got scared and came back."
Yeah. It's really funny.
Laughing
There's
cow.
definitely no cows over there.
Oh,
And like multiple times.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was pretty wild.
It was. Yeah, so that was like the closest experience I have had. to
Nice.
Sasquatch.
That was face to
Like
face.
physically close.
Like the year before here in this pyramid,
Right, so
we did have a face to face
we did.
with the father, and he stood right here, and it was
Yeah.
all sparkles and
Yes, like the
the stuff.
Shimmer pack.
the shimmer,
Yep.
but there wasn't any of the get into his field
you
back
didn't.
into.
We were like scrunching down, hiding
Crouching
behind
underneath
like this
so they don't bite
little
us.
brick wall.
Protect your
Yes, of course. Exactly. It's kind of like
This
the
2-foot wall.
cedar branch was really
Yes.
going to protect us. but it works.
It's just weird
somehow.
how physical bodies will respond to those things. you know?
Yes.
This little stick and I'll hold it and it'll be great.
Yeah.
I'm safe now.
now.
Yes. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had a face-to-face and we had a much more interaction than in any year previous. So I was
Yeah.
So
really satisfied.
I wanted to ask you if you had like parting words for anybody who's interested or curious about Sasquatch
Mhm.
and connecting with them. What would you say to them?
Ooh. Well, I would say do the human reactivity training course.
I think so. Yes.
Because I think that was the key for us, at least. And even
And this-
Paul was kind of getting an idea of it because we're like
we
talking
explained
about
it to him.
And then he started like having more data coming in and being open more to like hearing them, like in the mind speaker, the telepathy. And
Yeah. And he
Yeah.
was willing to share that with us too, because some people are like, they hear these words in their head and they're like, I'm not going to say anything because they'll think I'm crazy. I'm like,
Right.
we would think you're crazy if you don't tell us.
yeah. And we actually had a conversation like probably 10, 15 minutes prior about how, because Larry and I are so used to that, right? Like as mystics together, like we share data and we're used to that. And so we talked about that because Paul started sharing things and kind of validating, like his encouraging that sharing because it helps us all to collect that information and be able to kind of put the pieces of the puzzle together.
Right.
So that was really
So get
helpful.
some good friends
So
to share with.
Get some good friends to share with because it's definitely, I think, an excursion to do with others.
Mhm.
And prepare yourself with tools. And fear processing exercise is another great one. But if there's another tool, I don't know it. But those ones I think were the most useful because I wasn't able to move into fear processing at that moment, but I could move into my core.
We'll put the link to the class.
Yeah.
in the show
Yeah.
notes.
Is there anything else? I think.
The rest of the trip back was pretty uneventful. It was
Yeah.
right back. No tippy, no nothing.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank
for
you.
being game to be interviewed.
Yes. Happy to do it. It's a fun excursion to be able to share with everybody.
That's awesome.
All right.